Hello everyone, how are we doing? Damn, I hope you're doing well. Because we are back with our boy Shen, the guy who was sent to the primitive world to save the kings of various tribes. But before the video starts, everyone, soon, I'll bring you the complete version of this work and also the remake of part 1. So if you out there don't want to miss it, smash that like button and check the description. Damn right, that's it. Let's stop stalling and start the adventure. Everything begins with our protagonist waking up to a noise in front of a campfire, and when he opens his eyes, he initially sees several women, and his simp instinct immediately kicks in. Right, he gets all happy when he sees the girls, saying he can't miss this opportunity. Blah blah blah. It's amazing how a man only thinks with his lower head. Right, guys. So, he catches a pretty good aroma coming from the campfire, and you know the saying, an empty sack cannot stand upright. Thinking about that, he tries to crawl closer to the campfire, looking like a total psychopath, but he faceplants hard onto the ground because he was completely tied up, and he wonders how he got tied up like this. Right. However, while he was pondering, a system panel appears in front of him, stating he received a survival mission. Survive the pursuit of primitive people for 12 hours. And if he manages to complete this mission, he will receive a reward, which is another attribute point, and a survival package, which I call a little cheat code out of those 12 hours. Only 1 minute and 20 seconds were left for him to successfully complete the mission, because our guy was basically knocked out for 12 hours straight. But the problem isn't that he was unconscious for 12 hours. The problem arises when he takes a little look upwards, and my friends, hey, he almost lost his mind. But wait, earlier, he thought he saw women, right? But they're only men standing there, so it was a total illusion, and that's when he remembered that he had gotten himself into a massive mess. But for us to find out how all of this happened, we have to go back 12 hours ago. When our protagonist woke up in an unfamiliar area, he was wondering what had happened, right? Because just 11 minutes ago, he was accompanying Sister Zhang while she was shopping for her favorite accessories. So how did he end up here? Who knows? You don't even know. And while he was thinking about it, someone appears looking like, what the hell is this cosplay? Hey, you guys over there, how do I get out of here? For sure, our protagonist was scared out of his mind. Not even a Wi-Fi signal could get through. After that, the protagonist starts running for his life, and honestly, who wouldn't run right out of nowhere? Some crazy guys in cosplay pop up, looking like they want to rip you apart. This is not a good situation at all, man. Those crazy guys are hot on his heels, son. But our protagonist used to be a runner, and normal people can't catch up to him. Besides, they were also carrying heavy items. Right, but that was just what our protagonist thought, because the crazy guys start throwing bone spears at him, and one almost pierces his gut, son. Look at that. See what happens when you mess with them. But while he was running, a mission screen appears right in front of him, saying that the main mission has been activated, survive. And this leaves our protagonist completely confused. He wondered if that was a system, meaning he had actually been transmigrated. But while he was talking to the system, the hunter back there already had our protagonist locked in his sights. He gets ready and hurls the spear straight at our protagonist. Oh, screw it. Where am I? And that was how our protagonist ended up knocked out for 12 hours. Well, after getting hit by that blunt force, I thought he was dead. Then the system appeared in front of him again, stating that he had completed the mission to survive, and thus, he secured the survival package, which I call a little cheat code, right? And also, he got an attribute point, so the system tells him to distribute his attribute point. The system asks him if he wants to open the survival pack, and obviously he said yes, right? Congratulations. You have acquired Omniglottal Specialist, Novice rank, and also the survival booklet. Now what before? He couldn't understand when they spoke. With this new skill, he can understand everything. But how on earth is he going to explore this world? Without having a map to save the locations? And just like that, the map was activated. Now all visited locations will be pinned, and he can name them however he wants. But he needed a weapon to be able to protect himself in case he encounters any monster. Right, and thinking of that, the system gave him a mountain-splitting axe. Would you like to withdraw the mountain-splitting axe? However, the system gives a warning. To him, all items withdrawn from the storage space cannot be put back. And now he managed to understand more or less what's going on. He was sent to a primitive world where civilization has yet to develop. And maybe he must have been sent to this world to survive while developing civilization, okay? He says, right, in short, he starts bragging, saying that he would be the president or even a god, and blah, 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 blah. And finally, he decides to use the attribute distribution and add to the strength attribute. And also, he decides to withdraw the mountain-splitting axe. And man, with just one attribute point, he managed to break the rope, vine, or whatever that is. Right, now think with me, man. With just one attribute point, he became this strong. Imagine when he gets a few more points, hell be strong as hell. Naya and Shingu, yeah man? That's going to be his name from now on. Because I don't know his name? Look, doesn't it fit? Naya. And Shingu noticed that our protagonist managed to free himself. Capture him, Daunt. Let him escape, kill, and eat him right now. What's that, Shingu? Shingu asks if Hei's not going to run away. Our protagonist says, Abba Abba, translating you bunch of idiots, and continues talking about being the scum of life. My God, man. Translating. This crap he just said, man. How dare you disrespect a deity? And it was obvious that this would happen. They don't know what a deity is. This guy talks too much. He must be the leader our protagonist keeps, bragging that he is a messenger from the heavens. This and that. Who will punish them? This makes Shingu pissed off, right? Shingu. I can't take this name, man. And you know our protagonist's words made Shingu pissed off, right? And he goes right at our protagonist. And the system appears in front of him again, saying that he has a new mission. Subdue the primitive people and become their leader. And if he completes it, he will receive an attribute point and 3 more hemostatic solutions. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a medicine or something like that. However, if he loses, he will lose his mountain-splitting axe. Then he thinks, if I lose the axe, in this period of time, I'm screwed. No way, bro. And since Shingu was charging at him, our protagonist prepares and defends against Shingus's attack. Holy crap, it even dented the ground. Badly from how much force Shingu put into it. But nothing happened to our protagonist thanks to the little hack, right, that he received from the system. But Shingu keeps attacking, and our protagonist just defends until our protagonist cuts Shingu's bone that he was using as a weapon. Huh, how dare you break my weapon? Get him, let's attack together. Our protagonist took off, but while he was running, one of the crazy primitive guys tries to hit him from behind with a stick. No. Wait, that came out a bit weird, man. A branch, obviously. But our protagonist cuts the branch in half with his little axe, and his hair is left lying there. On the ground, man, they just keep coming. But the MC tells them not to be so reckless if they force his hand. He will kill them. Back off. Is he schizophrenic? That's just how he is, and out of nowhere they start shaking, and all of them run away. But it wasn't our protagonist they were afraid of. And our protagonist hadn't even realized what was right behind him until the system appears in front of him again. The side quest has been activated. Drive away. the saber-toothed tiger, and help the primitive people. And there's also the reward, which is 2 more attribute points, and the privilege of the primitive people. And Hei's in a bad spot, right? Because quest acceptance is automatic, so the quest has already been accepted. And there is no way for him to refuse. Then the MC thinks for a moment. Right, side quest, saber-toothed tiger, let me take a quick look up just so I can see what's up. And he starts running like crazy again, bro. What an unlucky protagonist, man. First, the guy wakes up on an unknown island. Then he gets chased by some crazy dudes who want to wreck his backside. And now, a tiger. Man, the only thing missing is a buff woman showing up too, right? And he keeps fleeing, but the tiger is right on his tail. It tries to swipe at the MC, but he dodges and keeps running, however. Nevertheless, if he keeps going like this, Hei's going to end up dead. But while he was thinking about that, the tiger lunges at him again, and this time, it manages to hit the MC. Will our protagonist be able to take it? Pause. Because if he takes another hit like that, he'll die. And by the looks of it, he can't run away anymore. But facing a tiger hidden want work. That's when he remembers that he can use fire against the tiger, because the tiger's a beast, and beasts are afraid of fire. However, he only has one chance. So he charges at the tiger and slides, just like in Call of Duty. Damn it. I'm never believing that motherfucking movie again. But that's just the nature of feline animals. They love to play with their prey before devouring it, so he decides to go through the forest, because that will buy him more time. And he keeps on running and dodging the tiger's attacks until he finally spots the campfire. The tiger almost hits him again, man. But at the last second, he managed to dodge and went rolling right up to the campfire. He grabs one of the torches that was there and thrusts it at the tiger's eyes. And it seems our MC was right, as this put the tiger on guard for a moment. But will this be enough to successfully defeat the tiger? In the last chapter, our boy Shen was being chased by a saber-tooth tiger. Was our protagonist able to defeat the tiger? Well, that's what we're about to find out now, son. They were staring each other down until, out of nowhere, they hear a sound coming from somewhere nearby. The noise was so loud that even the tiger got scared and ran away. And since the tiger fled, the MC managed to complete the quest, thereby receiving 2 more attribute points. And if even the tiger ran away, the MC isn't stupid enough to just stay standing there, right? So he takes off too, because the noise was getting closer and closer. Then he allocates an attribute point, 2 strength and 1 to agility, and thanks to those attribute points the system gave him, he can move freely through the forest, man, quickly arriving where Shingu and the primitive people were. And Shingu, when he sees him, is a bit surprised and asks how he wasn't devoured by the tiger back there. And since our protagonist isn't foolish, he says, in my eyes, a mere saber-toothed tiger is nothing but a little kitty. It fled in desperation after being easily defeated by him, right and out of nowhere. One of the women from the primitive tribe approaches our protagonist. Chief, you saved us. You saved all of us. Please accept our gratitude. And everyone agrees. Right, please. Wow. Become our leader. That's awesome. Because we won't have to run away from the tiger anymore over there. You know, that's pretty much what he said. And since our protagonist isn't stupid or anything, he immediately accepts, besides staying with us as well. Be our leader. You're awesome leader. Damn. This is so emotional, it makes me want to cry. And our protagonist is over there, all goofy, thinking he became the king. Basically, he did become their king, and from now on, I will be your king. And after he becomes the leader of the primitive people, he completes that mission of standing firm and becoming the leader of the primitive people, and that way he earns 3 more hemostatic solutions. and one more attribute point. And since he was completely exhausted, he immediately adds this attribute point to his physique, thus raising another level, guys. And from the looks of it, he will need to do more missions to level up his attribute points. So, he opens his inventory and takes one of those solutions, the hemostatic ones, and these potions. Apparently, they have an expiration time of just 1 day, so if he takes one out, he only has 1 day to use it, so it's time to test it out to see if it really works. He applies the medicine to his back, and his wounds are quickly healed. And since some of them were injured, he hands the medicine to Shingu to heal the others, and Shingu opens his mouth wide. Our king is so strong. Thank you so much, king. And our protagonist is over there loving it, saying that, of course, Hei's strong. Because if he weren't strong, who would protect them? And blah, blah, blah. But since he is their king, he needs to get to know them, and the first one is Shingu. His name is Shingu, whom I'll keep calling Julinho. He was the leader before our protagonist arrived, and his specialty is that Hei's the best fighter. The next one is Agam, and his specialty is being a hunter. Then there's this guy, Langu, and his specialty is having a powerful voice. Pause, guys. We also have Huang Shi. Hei's the one with the greatest physical strength weight. No fucking way, man. Holy shit. Bro, out of nowhere, this buff woman shows up. Right there, man. That's crazy. And this is Xiangling, but you can call her Da. She's good at throwing rocks, so, guys, would you smash or pass? Leave it in the comments. We also have Zuxu. She's good at climbing, and out of nowhere, man, a busty woman arrived. I mean, this beautiful and grand lady. This is a EO. And we have her kids. Oh man, they are ugly as hell. And finally, there's Shun Lizzie. He doesn't have anything special, but his eyes and ears are sharp. He can help people with scouting duties. The protagonist introduces himself and says he will pass down knowledge to them. And obviously they don't know what that is. Right? Passing down knowledge? What's that, boss? Just trust me. Bro, you guys are going to eat meat every day. Hell yeah, let's go, boss. And out of nowhere, he receives a system notification. He received a new mission. Help build the home of the primitive people. To sum it up, for you guys, he has to form a tribe and expand this tribe to 50 people. He only has 15 days to pull this off. But since the mission was activated early, he gained 3 more days, so now he has 18 days to complete this mission. And if he succeeds, he will receive 3 more attribute points in a large box, which I have absolutely no idea what it is. And also the rigid inheritance, which honestly, I don't know what it is either. So, since that's the case, if he wants to increase the tribe to 50 people, he will need to get along with other tribes. He needs to do everything he can if he wants to complete this mission in just 18 days, sometime later. Our protagonist was trying to sleep, but there's no way to sleep on an empty stomach, right, man? He had the munchies. Man, that's when he remembers that the meat that was on the bonfire should still be there, right? But you guys remember that there's a monster that even scared the tiger, right? Who knows if that monster isn't still around there, right? But now, Hei's the king of a tribe. He can't just stand. They're like a statue and starve to death. Hell, have to take the risk anyway. So, he grabs his little axe. Darren takes off to get the meat. Bro, arriving there, he takes a quick look. Around, right, just to be absolutely sure. What if a monster suddenly spawns out of nowhere, wanting to attack him again? But since there was nothing around, he goes over to grab the meat, and luckily, for him, there was even some extra. Meat man, and since now, He's a king, right? He needs to feed his people. So he takes the meat that was there and takes off again. But on the way back, midway through, something seemed wrong out of nowhere. He fell into a hole. He starts wondering where this hole came from. It was even reflecting his shadow. Man, but how could the moonlight be passing through such a dense forest? And that's when he realized that where he fell wasn't just a hole. It was a footprint, bro. So he thinks the footprints of that tiger don't even come close to the one he just fell into. That's when it hits him that if he encountered a saber-tooth tiger, it was obvious that he would encounter other, much more terrifying creatures that ever existed. In this era of history, and obviously, our protagonist isn't going to stay. They're waiting for this monster to return, right? So he takes off and returning to the primitive people. They were all fighting, man. Because of the meat our protagonist brought, right? Like, damn. Give it to me. Shut up, damn it. Stop stealing from each other, you bastards. These guys only know how to fight, right, man? These guys don't even know how to light a bonfire, man. Shen says that today's food will be prioritized for the hunters who are going out to hunt with him. Then Shingu says that normally they hunt in shifts. Yesterday, it was Shingu and Mowgli. I'm going to call this kid Mowgli. Because look, doesn't he look exactly like him? Man, we have a name for the boy now. And who's going to hunt today is going to be Christ's father and Shun Lizzie. But Shingu says that if our protagonist is going, they're all going with him. He says that in that case, those who wish to go with him can accompany him. Because our protagonist was looking for a place to build his home. Right? Xiangling, who is the muscular woman, asks what a home is. And he gives an explanation that I found really badass, man. He says that a home is a place where you live with your people, like the roots of trees. A home guarantees safety for current and future family members, and as incredible as it seems, they understood, man. Ah, so can I stay with my king? He says that everyone will be part of a future family. So, they will all stay together, and she leaves all happy. Shingu asks where they will build their home. Our protagonist gathers everyone and says they need to find an open terrain with mountains to the north and a river to the south, because that way they will have drinking, water, irrigation, firewood, and stone materials. In this case, weapons, right? And also, they need to establish a safe zone. Relatively close? Who's going to roll? Who? Your mom. I didn't understand. This ending, I mean, I didn't understand anything at all. And that way, reducing the risk of being attacked, Shun Lizzie, the long-haired guy, says he knows where this place is. That our protagonist wants, right? Our protagonist asks where this place is. He says that this place is to the east, but it's very dangerous there because there's a herd of cows. There, those cows there. I don't know about them either. And our protagonist thinks they are normal cows, right? Little. Does he know they are iron-horned black cows, man? But he says if they have these cows, they will get very nutritious meat, so. Now it's decided, these will be. I pray for today, brothers. Grab your weapons. We will head east to create our home. And right there, where the cows stay, Shun says that as soon as they reach the top of the mountain, they'll be able to see the herd. Shun tells them to stay low. Since the cows are down there, the protagonist asks, why so much caution, right? But when the protagonist takes a little look, check out the view, son. He feels a somewhat familiar breeze. Could it be the sea? So? He asks the system to open his map, and it looks like he was right. They really are close to the sea, so this will be the perfect place for them to build their civilization. Get out of there, damn it, the hell cows. We'll see you, okay, you'll be careful, then the protagonist checks the survival manual, and with those eyes, he can see the name and stats of everything. There, he was able to see 3 types of plants and 2 types of animals. The plants are the sunflower herb, the dragon vine, and the great sabak tree. Damn, what a badass name. It sounds like a tree. You could even use as a nickname, Look at Me. Giving you guys nickname ideas, doesn't that even deserve your like? And the animals are the gray squirrel and the pincer wasp. The protagonist asks Shun, "Where is the herd?" And he says it's in that small forest near the bend of the river. Half an hour later, Shun leads them to the cows. He says that if they get any closer, they will be spotted. Why are they so scared, aren't they? Just cows. Sietch, chief. What's wrong? Wait, is that giant tree moving, huh? Look. Up, man. What the hell? These are the iron-horned black cows. And I think now I understand more or less why they were so scared, right, my king? Are you sure we're going to hunt those things I don't know about that? No. Of course we are, man. Relax, bro. You'll go over there and take a look at the situation. So it'll be fine. No. Need to worry about me, okay? In going to die? What the hell? Out of nowhere? A reference? To Jojo here, man, now. It seems the only thing he can do is rely on his attributes. Right? Holy shit, it looks thicker than my body. What the crap? I think it's better not to test it out, right? Yeah, that one is way too terrifying. This one here is eating, right? Damn, it's just eating. It's gonna be you. Screw it. Hey there, girl. Eating grass? Is it good? Okay. But what the hell? Just like that? She won't attack me out of nowhere. Right. Look at the demon. The calf calls the whole squad, son, and the protagonist is running away, complaining, saying he didn't do anything, and blah 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 blah, and more blah 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 blah, and Shingu. And the others are up there, quietly, watching everything unfold from above. Man. And Hayes screaming up to Shingu. And the others, help me, save me. And since they are 10 million miles away from him, they didn't hear a thing. But did you guys really think it was going to end like this? Obviously. It wasn't going to end like that, right? Because our protagonist is quick, son. He leaps from side to side among the mountains, managing to grab hold, while the cows down below are banging their heads. And luckily for our protagonist, the cows can't climb. So, for now, Hayes safe, right? The protagonist realizes that. For now, he still can't defeat these cows. So he will train his tribe to be able to defeat all of them. And since he can't go down, he decides to climb up, and finally, after climbing so much, he reaches the top. And it looks like he found a perfect spot made to create his village, no, his empire. His journey is just beginning, and down below, Shun was worried about the protagonist, asking where he was and why he hadn't returned yet. I hope he wasn't crushed or ripped in half, right? Well, all that's left for me is to find that powerful axe. Right, wait, why are you so afraid? Didn't you want the axe? How are you doing, my king? The herd was fierce, he is thinking about eating more meat to increase his strength. Right, are you guys coming with me? Well, boss, I don't know how to fight. Did I by any chance fail to make myself clear? Answer with a yes or no. Yes, 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 yes. Great. That's how I like it, in that case. He will teach them how to craft powerful weapons and some effective methods. For a successful hunt, in 3 days from now, they will go hunt those cows. Let's damn well do this then. He cuts down a tree to make spears for them to train with. And obviously, he was going to give a demonstration of how it's done, right? And of course, he hits the tree dead center, man. Hey, this wood is tough, right, Shingu? Then the protagonist tells them to craft their own weapons. 2, because now they are going to train Shingu. The guy is totally focused right there. Son, damn, it's wide, thick, and hard. No, I don't get what you mean, Mowgli. The next one to face the protagonist is Chris' dad. And Kubone, and they charge forward. Chris' dad tries to hit him with the spear, but the protagonist dodges, however. It wasn't over yet, because Kubone was already behind him and tries to hit his head, good lord, but our protagonist dodges again. This time, he counterattacks, striking him right in the face with the spear. Son. But the protagonist doesn't even have time to think, son, because Chris' dad was already charging at him, however. Our protagonist had already spotted him. He stopped right in front of Chris's dad, and if Chris' dad hadn't stopped, he would have been finished, boss. What? I think I crapped my pants. Relax. Come on, you guys are beginners. It's normal. For this kind of thing to happen, I don't think so. So, it's time to change up the training. Right? They need to learn how to handle these spears before they face those hellish cows over there, so from now on, they are going to practice target shooting with the spears. And the first one up is Xingu, but he completely misses the target. Are you trying to paralyze me? My bad, boss. And they went one after another, and none of them could hit it, apparently. They have absolutely no talent with a spear. Then, out of nowhere, Mowgli throws his spear right into the target, and the spear sticks. Right there. Holy crap, I won. Damn, there's a titan over there. Ah, no, it's just Xiangling. She says there's a wild animal heading straight toward them. So the protagonist tells them to get ready for a fight. Stay focused. I'm sure we're going to win, the boar charges at the protagonist, but he blocks it with his spear. However, this spear won't be enough to defeat the boar, so he tells the others to surround the boar without attacking it. Mowgli, Kubone attack. Now they score a direct hit. But this just makes the boar furious, breaking the protagonist's spear. But our wolf boy is good with a spear and lands another spear right into the boar. Xingu bald and hairy guys. Now it's your turn. Attack. They also land direct hits. Except for Xingu, are you trying to escape? It won't be that easy now, Wanion. He landed a direct hit. Danger, the beast has gone wild. The boar charges at everyone. Who is standing there? But our protagonist isn't going to let anyone get hurt. He leaps high into the air and strikes the boar's head dead center, thus defeating it. Where is our king? Look, Hayes up there on top of the boar. Man, are you crazy? The boar took his soul. No, am alive and kicking. Tonight, we are going to eat some delicious boar meat. Hell yeah, I'm going to eat a ton. Stand up, Xingu. You did a great job. Oh, thank you very much, boss and Mowgli. You were the one who landed the main blow. You will come with me on future hunts? Hell yeah. Damn, our boss is incredible. Did you see the moment he killed it with his small axe? Hey, Xiangling, give me that little piece of meat right there. Of course not. I'm going to carve this piece for my dear king. For my king. Oh, my king. Wait, this one is for you. See, everyone? Now that's how you eat meat. Why, well, do you remember from the last video? They had a bonfire lit. Right, but that was kind of accidental. It seems like they are. Even more backward than the protagonist thought, apparently. He will have to teach them how to make fire. He takes the piece of the spear that had broken and starts rubbing the wood against the tree trunk. Pause. And just like that, we have fire, guys. And everyone is happy. Want the whole world to know that my king is fucking awesome, damn it. What nonsense. I already told. You two, shut your mouth. And out of nowhere, the system appears in front of him again, and it looks like he received 10 more technology points, which I have absolutely no idea what they are used for, right? So he decides to open the technology tab to see what it is, right? Especially since no protagonist knows. What? It's 4, and it seems these technology points are used to identify hidden heritage. It requires 10 technology points for each identification. And I still don't understand a single thing. Oh look, I heard a wild boar noise over there, so I searched around a bit and found several wild boar piglets. Then he receives another quest to domesticate the wild boars. And obviously, he accepts, right? Because domesticating wild animals will be great, especially since they are beasts, so he asks Shun and the girl to take the wild boars, and they took them. But since they are going to have wild boars, from now on, they need to build a stable. Right, so the piglets have a place to stay. And thinking about that, he asks Shingu and the others to go gather wood to be able to build the stable, right, while Mowgli makes straw ropes. The protagonist draws a circle on the ground. Then, with the wood and the straw ropes, and to finish, he puts straw on top. And just like that, they have a little spot for the wild boars to stay in a stable. And since he tamed the little boar, he completed the quest, right? And so he receives a material crate and a primary blueprint. Then he opens the material crate. And luckily for our protagonist, he gets a bag of salt and 4 blueprints. Later, our protagonist was talking to Shun. He asks Shun about the other clans, who tells him there are 3 clans and to be careful with them, because they are extremely dangerous. The first one is the Yellen clan, the Elf clan. They are the closest clan to them, and have about 30 to 40 elves. Apparently, they don't like to fight, but the one in charge of the Yellen clan is a woman who's pretty tough to deal with. Next up is the Rewa clan, the fishmen. They also have 30 to 40 members, located to the south, and apparently they are terrifying and are always fighting among themselves. There's also another clan, currently the strongest clan, with the largest population of them all. They live to the southwest in the mountains, and rumor has it their leader possesses mystical powers to prove what he was capable of. He defeated a saber-toothed tiger with his bare hands. If this information is true, then the Yellen clan is their best bet for forming an alliance right now. Hey, don't you want to do something exciting with me tonight? Meow, meow, oh great lord. Don't I look like a little kitty? Yeah, why yes. You look just like a saber-toothed tiger. You have my full approval. What did you say, sweetie? You need to poop? Me too? Poor? Muscular woman, bro. A while later on the beach, he was scouting the Fishman clan. And according to Shun's intel, there really are about 30 of them. If they can manage to conquer the Fishman clan, they will secure more food resources, but it won't be easy, because our protagonist's tribe is still way too small to take on the Fishman clan. However, if they can defeat the iron-horned black cows, consequently, they will get several powerful weapons. And on the very next day, I returned, "Damn, boss, I thought you had abandoned us. I didn't abandon you guys." "Damn it, relax." Then the protagonist starts giving orders to all of them. First, he ordered Shingu to gather the battle group, so they could train with the spears, however. The one who will teach them will be Mowgli. Since he is the best at it in this way, they have 1 day to level up their skills as much as possible. Next, he asks Xiangling to gather all the women to help him craft new weapons. First, they will have to gather wood and also stones to build some small axes. A little later, she returns with the girls and the stones. Then the protagonist teaches them how to craft a small axe. But the truth is that making a small axe is actually quite simple to start. You need to shape the stone against another stone base until it takes the exact same shape as the axe of the protagonist, right? Just like this. The next step, it's actually very simple. You take a straw rope and tie it to the base of the axe, just like that look. And that's how they get the axe and they get all giddy, right? Our life is amazing. It was pretty much like that, what they said then. The system panel appears again, granting him another technology point. And it seems that whenever he builds a weapon or something similar, he gains another technology point. Though honestly, right now, it doesn't serve much purpose, does it, now that he has taught them how it's done. He asks them to try making the small axe, and then show it to him, however. Xiangling had already made a small axe, and it was way better than the one he had made. Man, then. A hidden mission was activated, talent discovery. Now he can see the specific talent of everyone in his tribe, and Xiangling's talent is weapon crafting, thanks to this special skill of Xiangling. They managed to produce 30 weapons. However, there was a problem. Her hands were badly blistered, but she doesn't care too much because she would keep working for as long as it takes for his sake. But these guys also want some attention, and they also show their blistered hands. But what they are actually looking for is something else entirely, right? Seeing that they wanted something else, he goes over to see how the spear training was going. However, along the way, a trap was triggered, and a log comes swinging right toward him. But he dodges it, right? He almost got taken out then. Mowgli appears and says that this is part of the training, and these logs here serve to train their accuracy on moving targets. And with this training, all of them manage to improve their aim. Now they can hit moving targets. And it shows there that Mowgli's skill is Spearmaster, and there's also Xingu. When someone is a former leader and forms a team, their abilities increase tremendously. And the long-haired guy, the most easygoing one, is also the one who trains the most. In that way, he was one of the first to improve his skills. But the greatest in the whole group were these two guys, man, whom I'm going to call. This one Beto, and the other one Betanyo. Right? They are by far the ones who improved the most, because they are the only ones who can throw 4 spears at the same time and hit the target. And since they have evolved so much, starting tomorrow, they will hunt the black cows, however. Some of them are not very confident. But our protagonist has a plan. Later on, he was preparing a liquid from a paralyzing plant to put on the tips of the spears, and it seems that this liquid will make the black cows fall asleep for a while, and on the next day, the time has finally come for them to hunt the black cows. Hello everyone, as we saw in the last video, our protagonist ordered Mowgli to train Xingu and the others to make their aim better with the spear, you know? Because the time has finally come for them to deal with the cows. And let's get right into it, guys. The next day on top of the mountain, Xingu and the others were waiting for our protagonist's signal. Meanwhile, down below, he was thinking about how he was going to provoke the cows, you know? So, out of nowhere, he picked up a rock that was right there and hit a cow right in the head, man. And obviously that makes the cows pissed off, right, guys? So they charge right at the protagonist. But that was exactly what he wanted, you know? So he runs toward the mountain. Where Xingu and the others are, that way. They prepared to take them out. When one of them was all ready, almost catching our protagonist, Xingu gives the signal for them to attack, and they all score a direct hit, guys. But that wasn't enough to stop the cow, so that's when our boy Mowgli throws his spear right into the cow's neck. That way, our protagonist manages to hold on, but the cows start ramming their heads into the mountain. And the rock our protagonist was holding breaks, but Xingu was right there to save our protagonist. Our protagonist almost bit the dust, guys. But this leaves our protagonist a bit curious, because the paralyzing venom that he put on the tips of the spears didn't have any effect, you know. So he ordered them to keep attacking. And just like that, Shinga's commanding talent activates. And because of the skill of Shingas, everything is working out perfectly. But that was to be expected, right, guys? After all, he was the former leader of the tribe. Then Shingu says there's something wrong. And according to Shun Lizzie, there are several hell cows approaching. We're in trouble, guys. But our protagonist tells them not to panic, because everything is going according to his plan. However, while they were planning what to do, the boss cow appears and guys. Now I want to see what they're going to do, okay? Because look at the size of this freaking thing, man. However, our leader says that from the very beginning. His plan was to take down the boss. And of course, to lure out the strongest one, he needed to use some bait. So that's why he kept the other cows alive, you know. And guys, with just one roar, it broke half the mountain, man. And after that roar, the cows started ramming their heads into the mountain. And this leaves them a bit curious. Like, why are the cows ramming the mountain? Man, then the mountain starts to collapse, and it was too late for them to try and run in the middle of all that. Dada falls down there. No way, guys. And obviously, they jump down after her to see how she is. She's fine, guys. Leave this buff woman alone, damn it. However, now they are surrounded by the hell cows. Our protagonist tells them not to act on their own. Uh-oh, guys. It looks like someone underestimated the bull, right? Shingu tells the others to grab their weapons and go protect their lord. But he tells them to stay in their positions and stay sharp. Get ready to attack. So, the time for battle has finally come. Let's go, guys. One of the cows charges at our protagonist, but Mowgli was right there and throws a spear straight into the monster's neck. And to finish it off, our protagonist swings his axe, but even so, the monster almost hits our protagonist. However, Mowgli saves him. Meanwhile, Betnyo tries to hit one of the cows that was coming right at them. But the monster defends and goes all out against him. However, he grabs the monster's horn, while Beto attacks the beast's eyes. And to finish it off, Shingu gives the order to attack. And just like that, they take out another cow. They're actually doing pretty well, right, guys? But it's not over yet, my friends, because there are still several of them left. However, they weren't advancing. That's because the leader of the hell cows is stepping up to the front, guys. This beast is going to give them trouble. Okay, so it puffs up its chest with all its might, and bam, it shoots a fucking laser beam. Man, that split the mountain. But luckily they managed to avoid it. Our protagonist says, hey, he's going to distract the boss, so get Dada out of here. And so the monster charges at our protagonist with everything it's got. But he defends with his axe, however. This monster is very strong and throws our protagonist back, you guys. He even tries to run, but the bull jumps on him. However, our protagonist has a brilliant idea to try to climb the mountain where the monster made the hole, you know, and obviously it was going to end badly, right, you guys? So the monster hits our protagonist with everything, bro. Everyone is left. Thinking that our protagonist bit the dust? Did our protagonist pass away, you guys? It was obvious that he didn't, right? The driver would be the one sending others to the grave. Our protagonist hits its arm. Shingu tells them to wait for their lord's signal. Then they charge with everything. Go for it, you guys. Betnyo charges at it, trying to hit its eye. However, the monster hits him squarely, but Beto was there to save the day and drives a spear into the bull's hand, thus saving Betnyo. Meanwhile, the long-haired guy tries to unbalance the monster, but the bull notices and grabs the long-haired guy. However, while they distract the bull, our protagonist comes from behind and gives a flying kick to the monster. Damn, man. Wouldn't it be easier to just slash the beast, man? And obviously, this makes the monster angry, right, you guys? So it launches another laser beam at them. But they dodge easily, however. The laser beam was heading towards Shang Ling's direction. No, you guys. And when the beam was almost hitting her, our protagonist arrives and cuts off half of the arm of the monster. Phew, you guys. Our muscular woman was almost gone for good, man. And taking advantage of this moment, Shingu gives the order to attack. and all of them hit the boss squarely. It even tries to flee, but it falls to the ground. Of course they celebrate, right? Because finally, they managed to defeat the boss. At least, that was what they thought. Because the boss got up and hit our protagonist. Squarely, bro, and not just him. The boss caught all of them by surprise. Things went bad, you guys. The boss, face to face with our protagonist, pulls out one of the spears that was stuck in its body and throws it in our protagonist's direction. And it was too late to try to dodge. However, someone steps in front of our protagonist and gets hit instead of him. And that person was none other than Xiangling. You guys know, man? Seeing this, he starts remembering all the moments with her and face to face with the bull. He enters a state of fury, you guys. Go for it, damn it. The system gives several danger alerts, and tattoos appear on his body. And with just one swing of his axe, he cut the boss and the mountain in half, thus defeating it. Holy crap, you guys. Now I know why this axe is called mountain splitting. You know? And of course, after the cows see the boss being defeated, they take off, right? However, after our protagonist awakened this axe skill, his life was put at risk. So he faints, you guys. And a while later, he wakes up and sees those two balloons. Sokka, wow. After sending the iron-horned black cow to the grave, Xingu and the others brought them over there. He gets up and asks what happened to Xiangling and the others. She says that when they found the long-haired guy, he was in pretty bad shape, but after some rest, he managed to recover well, however. The condition of our muscular woman is much more severe, but fortunately, they managed to treat her, and now she just needs to rest. That's good, right, you guys? And that puts our protagonist at ease, right, you guys? Especially because she basically sacrificed herself to save him, you know? So he asks, how many days passed like this? A mission window opens saying that there are 11 days left for him to complete that mission of expanding the tribe, you know? And because of this incident, he lost a lot of time. She says he needs to rest, but now is not the time. To rest, he says, he asks her to call Xingu because he has something to tell him. And guys, no one can find out about this power of our protagonist because this power is strong as hell, you know? But it's no use if he can't fight, right, man? But even so, he won't give up. So easily, right, everyone? And luckily for our MC, Xingu and the others acted faster. After sending the boss to Kingdom Come, so then, Xingu arrives and says he's glad he woke up. Our MC says he has something important to tell him. So pay attention, he tells him something. Because it doesn't show what it is, you know? This leaves our MC thoughtful, since they can't make the same mistakes. When they go hunting again, he needs to make sure there are no casualties. So, he asks the long-haired guy to go fetch the skull and hide of the boss, you know? So our MC lends an axe to the long-haired guy, and he leaves all happy, saying he will complete it. The girl tells him to keep resting, but obviously, he's not going to rest, right, guys? He says that now that there is no one there, he has something important he needs to tell her. Damn, guys, could it be what we're thinking, man? He says he sent everyone away because what he has to tell her is something very important. And guys, out of nowhere, Sokka takes off her clothes and says she thought he'd never ask man. Yeah, but he tells her to put her clothes back on because that wasn't what he meant. Ah, damn. He should have enjoyed it a little bit, right, guys? He says he needs her to accompany him to a certain place because he plans to go to the Yellen clan to negotiate. Wow, guys, could it be that? Now we're going to see the hot elf girl. Man, although the hot elf girl's tribe has more problems than them. He thinks it wouldn't be impossible to reach an agreement. Guys, he says that first hell show the skull of the king. Of the Black Bulls, you know? That way, Hell managed to intimidate the elf girl's tribe, and thus, they will think the best option is to join him. And he chose Sokka. For two reasons. First, the chief of the Yellen clan is a woman, and that's why Sokka is perfect for this. Since there's nothing better than a woman to talk to another woman, right, guys? And second, only she knows that our MC is basically incapacitated at the moment, in that explosive attack that he used to defeat the boss over there caused a lot of damage. And if it weren't for that hemostatic potion, he'd be screwed, guys. Because not even the potion completely healed his arm, But at least it stopped the deterioration. But even so, he needs something more effective to completely heal himself. She says they need to show their power to the Yellen clan, so they will join them. Well, since he trusts her, she promises he won't regret it in this position. There's no way to regret it, right, guys? A while later, Sokka and Shun set out toward the Yellen clan to make that deal over there, As soon as they arrive there, they see the elves taking a bath. Damn, guys, Sokka says that the leader of the Yellen clan ate her previous suitors, and I'm not even talking about that, guys. She literally ate them, Ah, how gross. But I'd still smash, however. While they were talking, the little elves guarding the outskirts of the Yellen clan caught them spying. So they took them to the queen. One of the little elves says, those who usually talk nonsense are asking to speak with you, my queen. But Shun says that they are not nonsense. They are ambassadors. This is a title that our protagonist gave to them. She says she's disappointed. A poor woman, led by an oppressor. How good and delicious they will be. For dinner? What's that, guys? The queen likes good meat, huh? As she was taking Shun Sokka, she says she thought the queen of the Yellen clan was the smartest in this nation. But now she regrets saying that, because they were thinking of offering a mountain of meat. But it looks like we'll have to offer it to the savages of the Reincarnated clan instead. And of course, after hearing this, she tells them to wait because she wants to hear them out. She asks if she heard right. Do they really have a mountain of meat? Sokka says yes. It belonged to the king of the Black Bulls that lived near the riverbanks, located to the north. And of course, after hearing this, now the queen wants to join forces to get rid of the cows, But Sokka says that joining forces to hunt is their way of showing gratitude, not a tribute. Don't underestimate our people. That's right, go Sokka, however. She says she no longer considers those filthy black bulls as her opponents anymore. Or so she says, you guys. Since he made those hellish cows run away, After defeating their king. This makes our protagonist the owner of the lands. Damn, it hurts to watch, man. This leaves the other little elves, my God. Super curious, right, everyone? Look. But isn't this a man, bro? Wait, wasn't there only women in that tribe, man? Or am I going crazy? But Sokka says she's telling the truth. Our Lord split the king of the Black Bulls in half. If you don't believe me, you can see it with your own eyes. Another one of the little elves chimes in, telling her not to get excited because it seemed like a trap. A trap. Forgive me, little girl. But if our Lord wanted to, he could turn your entire clan upside down. Damn, you guys, Sokka's pretty sassy too, right, man? Wow. One says they agree with her, since they went there in peace to form an alliance with them. If you wish, I can offer you something else, since he is the most sincere in his clan. And to provoke her even further, Sokka asks if she doesn't have the courage to go personally, you guys. Sokka is brave, right? Man, don't make me waste my time. A while later, they were arriving at our protagonist's clan. Then Shingu says our protagonist is waiting by the riverbank. As soon as they got there, the queen of the elves gets a bit nervous and says that a terrifying aura emanates from that throne. That man looks like an ancient monster. Thank you for your hard work. And that leaves the queen completely stunned, right, everyone? But wait, man. Wasn't she the one who was going to defeat our protagonist inside the tent? Xiangling gave a huge punch to Beto's head. Man, because our protagonist ordered them to hide the wounded. Inside the tent, you know? That's why she punched him in the head, man. So you are the queen of the clan, huh? And this pisses the redhead off. Right, you guys? She asks, "Where is the mountain of meat? Hold on, girl." Why so aggressive, man? He says it's behind the throne and they can take all the meat they want, so they go. All happy, then. BTU says the meat on the other side is theirs. So they go try to cut the meat, you know? But as soon as they try to cut the meat, it's their weapons that break. And Bettino starts laughing in their faces, man. And obviously, this pisses the queen off. Right, you must have been very lucky to survive an attack from those black bulls. And of course, Bettino gets pissed off, however. Before things go south, you guys, our protagonist throws his axe and cuts the meat. For them, this leaves Bettino absolutely terrified, right, everyone? This leaves our elf queen speechless and impressed, right? Because they're bone weapons. Can't even compare to this axe of our protagonist. Ah, boss, they started it. Obey me, Bettino. Our queen says that he delivered the meat. As promised, then, she asks, "How did you guys defeat those cows over there, you know?" He says it's thanks to their future development. Mutual understanding. And his experience also helped him. And since our protagonist is injured, right, you guys, he sends the queen away. Because she already got what she wanted, in you guys. If he keeps acting like this, it's going to end badly, you know? Because if it weren't for the bandage that Sokka made on his arm, he'd be screwed, right? So much so that his arm is already bleeding, you know? That's why he sent them away. But to save our protagonist, as always, right, you guys, Sokka gets her attention, saying that before she goes, she will give them some axes to cut the meat. However, these axes aren't as strong as our lord's, she says, and by her face. She wanted a better axe, right, you guys? But anyway, she says she wouldn't use a crude axe. That isn't suitable for them. That's not what it looked like, huh? However, we have powerful weapons we haven't used yet. I hope one day we won't need to use them against you. Goodbye. Wow, you guys. So, after getting their meat, they take off after all. There are other tribes that will want some of the food too. So they leave a while later in the forest. She asks one of the elf spies about our protagonist's tribe, you know? One of them says that inside the tents there are several piglets. This makes her a bit curious, right, you guys? He builds a house for piglets? What do you mean, man? The other elf girl says that they perfected and improved the power of fire. We saw it with our own eyes. They create fire and fry those meats, she says, and that's not all there are. More people, and among these people, there are also children and the elderly, she suspects, that they are hiding their population. Holy crap, you guys. This elf girl is well-informed man than the hot elf girl. Asks why they didn't go after those people. She says it was because most of the trees are cut down, so she couldn't see, especially because they couldn't expose themselves so easily, you know. The most they could do was watch from afar in the trees. Our elf queen says she understands, but out of nowhere, she snaps at the three of them, man, and says that if they dare give another excuse like that, she swears she will punish them with a whip. Damn, you guys. She is fierce, right? That's how we like it, right, you guys? Returning to our protagonist, Sokka was worried about him because his wound opened up, you know? He says it doesn't hurt that much, thanks to the healing properties of the bandage. I believe my wounds will heal. Completely bit by bit, he says. Then the system says that Sokka's talent is eloquence. Interesting. Right, you guys? She says that by the look of our protagonist, he likes her more than the yelling queen, you know? He gets all nervous. Just like that, he asks her to clean the blood that fell on the throne. And when she's done, she should let him know. Because Hei's going to ask Shun Lizzie and the others to guard the entrance and not let anyone in. Sokka says she liked his attitude. Before that, he thanks her with all his heart. You guys, our elf queen is hot. But Sokka isn't lagging behind at all. What a beautiful girl, man. Then Shunlizzy says that he looks great. He says that the elves established an observation point in their areas. Our protagonist asks what he thought of the mission. He received, he says, he always fulfills what our protagonist asks, like a true subordinate would say. He continues, saying that they managed to see all the tents, but they couldn't see anything that was inside, so our protagonist says that's great, and that Hay's been doing a great job lately, so he leaves all happy, saying Hay's going to help the others. Sokka asks if Hay's still sure whether the Yellen clan will help them. He says that it is still way too early to worry, because his plan is only 50% complete, and when they return next time, we will proceed with the other part of the plan. A while later, our protagonist went to rest, so he opens the system window to check out the things he has, because he needs to do something. When the elf girl returns, right guys? He actually already has a lot of stuff, man. He already has 3 skills. A universal map where he can save the locations where he visits, the hemostatic potion over there, and also a little bit of salt. And most importantly, right guys, the axe. They ask what is going on, because this axe, it was known as the mountain-splitting axe. He thought this axe was just a melee weapon, but apparently, it is also a magic weapon. A legendary weapon with its attribute being the earth element. And this skill of the axe can only be activated when it absorbs blood. Now it explains why our protagonist split that horned beast right down the middle, right guys? And since our protagonist was bleeding heavily in the battle against the cows, that skill activated automatically. According to the system, it protects our protagonist with its skill at the right moment, especially because if he uses this skill at the wrong moment, he'll be finished, Will this weapon evolve even further, guys? I don't know, but the conditions to activate this skill will become more complex and demanding, but it would also have an evolution. He says, and also, the only thing that is truly useful to him right now is that potion, And if this potion runs out, it will be a problem, unfortunately. This potion is already running low, guys. I have to save it for a critical moment. He says, otherwise, he will be forced to use his axe to quickly defeat his enemies, and all the meat that the elves took is enough for more than 30 people, So it should last about 2 days. He says since our protagonist only has 11 days left, right guys? He needs to move fast, so he asks the long-haired guy to call Shunlizzy, because he has a special mission for him. A while later, Shunlizzy arrives, and our protagonist asks him if he remembers the herd of iron-horned black cows that they scared off. So, you have 2 days to find them, and guys. Luckily for our protagonist, everyone is doing their job smoothly, So in these 2 days that he gave to Shunlizzy, he is going to build some things to show his gratitude to everyone. So right after that, 2 days pass, guys. And in those 2 days, he managed to build 3 things. The stone headpieces, which doesn't make much sense to be named that. He also made a whistle for Mowgli, which will make things easier when he goes to fight or hunt. And finally, he made a flask that is probably for Shingu. Right, guys? And those stone pieces over there will serve to be placed on the spears. Therefore, if one day they need to fight against that tribe, they will be improving their capabilities to fight against them, thus improving their victory rate. Then Sokka called for him and says she has good news. She says that they finally finished building his house. But before he leaves to go see the house over there, Sokka gives him a cloak to wear. She is worried, since he is injured, right guys? Batinho says that the Lord is going to see his house, and this makes Shingu all nervous. He says that this is the house they've built using our protagonist's method. And guys, it actually doesn't look bad at all, right? For them, who have never done this kind of thing, it turned out damn good, man. They get all happy because our protagonist liked it, Shingu says that only the door is missing, and his house will be completely ready. And as soon as Shingu finishes the small house, right there, the system window opens up, stating that our protagonist gained 10 technology points, and this makes our protagonist curious, right guys? Because just like that, as soon as we finish building the small wooden house, there he managed to get the exact same amount of points as he does when creating fire, you know? And you guys, they've really changed a lot, haven't they? Because when our protagonists first arrived, they were literally like animals, you know? But now, at this very moment, they have evolved to improve their human nature and intelligence, he wonders. If they were influenced by the system, it's as if they have rapidly evolved. So, he speaks to Shingu. As soon as Shun Lizzie returns, let me know. Well, I have to go back and let. Everyone continued building more houses, so that the others have places to sleep. He says a few minutes later, Shun Lizzie returns, saying he found those hellish cows. So, now finally, the second part of his plan is ready. He called Shingu and Shun Lizzie over to talk. He tells them something there. Because it doesn't show what he said, then he asks if they have any doubts. Shingu asks if he is sure about this, as it seems a bit complicated. He says, but Shun Lizzie says it's fine, he can do. This alone, however, if you guys are worried you can bring someone else to help me, damn guys. The boy is confident, son, so he handed the whistle to Shingu, because that way he'll be able to give his orders better. Our protagonist tells Shun Lizzie that he also has a gift, but you will only receive this gift after you complete the mission. All right, okay, boss, I want. Forget the signal you will give me. As soon as we receive it, we will succeed. He says a while later, they went to prepare themselves to put our protagonist's plan into action. Well, it's clear that with each passing day, our proto is gaining everyone's trust. With things being this way, it's already time to disrupt the others. So, he asks Sokka to tell Xiangling and Hongxi to make a large bonfire in front of the wooden house, but do not light it until he tells them a while. Later, the Yellen clan was arriving to get a little more meat. So, what was this girl's name? Again, man, I forgot. You'll just call her Julina. There you go, guys. We have a name for the girl. Then Julinha went to inform our proto that the Yellen clan was arriving again. Sokka said that our proto's wounds are healing, so you are not supposed to go out to the battlefield. That's already good. Just imagine, when I managed to conquer the Yellen clan, but to break our proto's daydream, Julinha arrives and says that the Yellen clan is coming, and says that Sokka must have already noticed. So bring the Yellen queen to talk to me, a talk, right guys? Thus Sokka goes over there to call her majesty. She said that she looks much more beautiful than last time. What is this, Sokka? Hitting on the queen, man. You may enter, our lord is waiting in his palace. This leaves her impressed, right guys? Because in just 2 days, they transformed that simple throne into a wooden house. She asks if their lord is so frightened that he won't come out and speak with her, and so that they don't invade them and finish them off. She wants a little more meat, guys. And right now, when my subordinates are eager to meet our new neighbors, she says, and that this was why she came, with all her people. Right, guys? I hope you weren't frightened by this. She says, I just wanted to say that thankfully our tribe prepared meat for 40 people, and you guys arrived just in time to take it before it started to spoil, guys. Sokka almost provokes the queen. Man, then she said she felt very sorry for her and that they forgot to conquer them. But Sokka said she has already been conquered by the power of our proto. She said that their meat is in the same place as always. Eat as much as you want. In case you can't carry it all, and in case you can't cut the meat, you can call our soldiers to help, but she says there's no need. So, she orders Nyahu. Is that redhead over there, She tells her to go cut the meat. Meanwhile, she enters our protagonist's palace. "Welcome back, Your Majesty." She blushes completely while looking around. "So this is your palace?" she says. He says this is just the first prototype of a palace that he had in mind. And as soon as they manage to build a bigger palace, this one will be for his people. So she asks if he is really going to let his people live in a place like that. He says yes, especially because this area is a bit cramped, and also soon they will expand the area more and build more houses, and out of nowhere, she pulls out her whip and binds our protagonist, guys. But Sokka arrives just in time and says that the banquet is ready. Oh, Sokka asks if she interrupted them right in the middle of something, guys. He says no, that they were just talking. What a close call. Right, guys? And since they're done talking, guys, now it's time to go out and enjoy the banquet. This leaves the queen a bit curious, because even though he is bound, sorry, I misspoke even, though he was bound by her, he still keeps a calm face in reality. This lord has no fear of death, unlike the other idiots from the other clans. He is very different. Could she be falling in love already, guys? By the bonfire? Sokka asks our protagonist to season the meat, and just like that, she starts serving it to all of them then. The queen asks what this is. There's no need to be afraid, Your Majesty. This just makes the food taste better. And after seeing her subordinate eating it, she goes ahead and eats it too, to see if the thing is really good. How delicious. In a place not so far away, Shingu and the others were waiting for our protagonist's signal to put the plan into action, and as soon as they see the bonfire, which is the signal, they start attacking the cows. And everything is going according to plan, because the cows are heading in Shun's direction. And when the cows were almost there, Shun leaped forward and scored a direct hit. I won't let your herd loose, you idiot. You're nothing compared to your former leader, he says, but even though he was trying hard, the herd was heading in the wrong direction. So Shingu uses his whistle to alert Shun that he was going in the wrong direction. This makes Shun a bit annoyed, because he promised he would fulfill this task. Just like that, his riding talent activates, and therefore, the Hell Cows finally go in the right direction, back at the bonfire. While they were eating, our protagonist thinks, it's time then. One of the elves comes running in a panic. Our gorgeous elf queen asks what's happening. She says that a herd of iron-horned black cows invaded their camp and destroyed everything, and the others couldn't handle the bulls. All of you, come with me. My friends, I will make these black bulls pay for destroying everything. This leaves her a bit puzzled, because she had already driven the black bulls away from the river. So what could be happening, right, guys? At the elves' camp, they were using a slingshot to face the monster. Man, bro, I bet you don't even know what that thing is. Right, guys? Only the old school folks know what that is. Hey, if you know what that is, leave it in the comments. I think I'm getting old, man, and obviously, that was bound to happen, right, guys? Their attacks weren't working at all, man. The girls are throwing tiny pebbles at the monster, Of course, it wasn't going to work, man. Meanwhile, the monsters were wiping them out, guys. When a bull was about to send one of them packing, our gorgeous queen arrives and saves her, and guys, she was strong. She lifts the beast up into the air and slams it onto the ground with all her might, son. But of course, that is not enough to defeat the bull, so it charges straight at her with full force and lands a direct hit right there. Guys, however, our protagonist arrives, catches her in his arms, and says, rest for a bit. Meanwhile, we will take care of them, and Shingu, along with the others in the back, are totally on guard, man. Today will be your end, you cursed monster. Wait, man. Doesn't that cloak made from the king of the iron-horned black cows that our protagonist is wearing have any effect on the smaller bulls, man? Actually, yes, guys. It does have an effect. I'm the one. Who must be losing my mind here? It seems there is a new king of the Black Bulls. But if you compare this one to the last king, there's absolutely no comparison, right, guys? Thus, he orders Shingu and the others to charge at the monster with everything they've got, and of course, it was easy to defeat. At this time, right, guys, and to humiliate. The new monster king even. More Shingu throws Shen into the air like that. So he mounts the bull and activates his riding skill. Our protagonist says that they should leave, but she says that they still haven't dispersed the entire herd yet. So I will help them. But our protagonist holds her back and says that they cannot handle these monsters. If you try, this place will be your death sentence. He tells them to go with his people and to her clan so that they can heal their wounds and then return here once the storm passes. He swears that he will build enough shelters and will also provide food for them. Not only that, he will keep them safe. With things put this way, she has no choice, right, guys? Especially because, basically, none of her warriors are capable of fighting at the moment, right? Sokka asks. If she would really like to see her people fighting against an opponent stronger than them, as it wouldn't be worth it to see them die like that. So, she accepts to go to our protagonist's tribe, guys. Right after they get everyone out of there, our protagonist says that Sokka is in charge of taking care of the queen, and she must show the way to reach the protagonist's tribe. And as soon as you guys get there, give them food, water, and a place for everyone to rest. For I will stay here with the others to buy time. And so they left, and the battle begins, guys. But Naya and a few elves stayed behind to help Shingu. Shingu even tries to say that they cannot fight while injured. If you don't have enough courage, it's better to retreat with the others to our camp. But she just ignores him and walks right past, a few hours. Later, Sokka and the Yellen clan arrived at our protagonist's tribe, Xiangling, asks what happened. And where our lord is, Sokka says that the lord and the others stayed behind to buy time. But the most important thing, right now, is the Yellen clan. They need a place to rest. She says that. Fortunately, Xiangling and the other injured have healed, and they managed to build several small houses for everyone. I think this is incredible. They do so much, and without even resting. She says, while Sokka takes care of the queen, Xiangling gets organized and calls the others who are not injured to help gather water and food for everyone. Sokka leaves the queen, guys. I'm going to have to give her a name, man, because keeping on calling her the queen is a bit annoying, right? But I'll leave that job to you guys. Everyone, leave it in the comments. The best name that comes to your mind, No pun intended, right? And go ahead and leave a like in watching you. Guys, Sokka says that she will take care of the others. So, rest well, my queen. The queen even expressed her gratitude, guys, which is a rare thing, Everything is going according to plan. She says a while later, our protagonist and the others returned. And Sokka went to tell our protagonist everything that happened. He says that everything is going according to his plan. And this plan he speaks of is to unite with the gorgeous elf clan in a peaceful manner, and also, after all, we just came from a difficult battle, and therefore it's not good to push them too hard. He says this is worthy. And you, my lord, your overall plan is coming out perfectly. Now, let's move on to the final step. The next day, Naya, our redhead, was protecting her highness. As always, and out of nowhere, Xiangling appears right next to her, giving her a jump scare, I mean, out of nowhere. A giant woman appears right next to you, Xiangling says that her lord wants to talk to her highness. In private, inside our protagonist's little hut, he was taking a little look at that mission to expand the tribe. To 50 people, It was pretty fast, right, guys? Because it only took 3 days for him to manage to complete that mission, I mean, he hasn't completed it yet, right, guys? But he will complete it. Trust our boy. It's going to be a huge success then. Someone knocks on the door. And of course, it was the queen, since he had called for her. Once there, she says, Sokka told me about the alliance between our clans. My answer is, over my dead body. Damn, man, what's that? You can't force me to do this. Do not take advantage of our clan's temporary weakness, but our protagonist says he doesn't want to force them. In reality, he just wants to negotiate with them. Furthermore, I can teach all of you to build your own houses, as well as how to craft powerful weapons, and also wood friction techniques to create fire. And the only thing he asks of the Yellen clan is for them to join them, so they can teach them everything. Meanwhile, I will be willing to protect you. Then he gets really close to her and says, you won't always be brave enough to shield yourselves from all your problems. Let's be honest, you know better than I do that besides your clan and mine, the other savages of the Rewa clan and the Zushi clan are very strong, and guys, they are in no condition to threaten anyone, especially since the other clans are too strong for them to face alone. You know, and besides, they are all injured, man. This makes her a bit annoyed, because she cannot force her people to accept the conditions of a stranger, unless there is a clash between our clans. To decide everything, only then will our gorgeous elf's clan be willing to accept. So, do you accept this challenge? And obviously our protagonist accepts. Right, guys? We will settle this with a challenge. But your majesty is injured and not in a condition to fight. And to show that he is fair, he isn't going to fight either. So Hei's going to send Shingu in his place. And of course the queen chose our redhead Naya, right guys? So Shingu charges at her with everything Hei's got. But she dodges easily. She even tries to attack by throwing her bone dagger. But obviously Shingu blocks her daggers. A strike to his head, man. But nothing happened to Shingu, right guys? When Shingu is about to swing his axe at her, one of the elves in the background interferes in the battle and hits Shingu dead on, guys. Then the redhead charges at our protagonist, man. And Mowgli, seeing this from above, obviously, wasn't going to just stand there, right guys? So he hits the redhead right in the chest with a spear. And because of that, they prepare to fight one of the elves. Says our protagonist is a dead man. We are waiting for your order, Your Majesty. Of course, our leader, seeing his people in danger, had no choice but to take the queen hostage. All of you, stop. Do you really think I didn't see through your little trick? Is this how you treat a friend who helped us? Please. She is the best warrior in our clan, if it weren't. For me, it would be absolutely impossible to abandon the crown's dignity that you take so much pride in. I know you possess great powers and can perform miracles, please. Could you save her life? The Yellen clan would be grateful, and we would be willing to serve you. That was everything our protagonist wanted, right guys? So of course Hei's going to save the redhead's life. Over there, right? No problem. He'll use a bit to save her life. Now that we are allies like this, he takes a little bit of the hemostatic potion and saves Naya's life. This should be enough. She needs to rest, and in a few days, she'll be better. And after the elves see Naya being saved, they all bow, calling it a miracle. A miracle, he tells the beautiful elf queen, to tell her clan that from now on, they are allies. I authorize you to continue leading the Yellen clan, but remember to keep obeying my orders. And now, the Yellen clan and our protagonist's clan have united, guys. She says there's something else she wants to ask. I want you to introduce me as your significant other. Let's hold a ceremony to confirm our relationship. Whoa, guys, this crazy guy is finally getting married. Our protagonist starts imagining everything he sees. Them getting married, doing certain things, right, guys? Also having kids, watching them grow up, getting old and dying together, man. And of course he accepts, right, guys? But then again, who wouldn't accept a hot elf queen? Like that, man, but our protagonist needs more time to organize everything. He tells everyone to rest, because in a few days, he and his queen will hold a ceremony to confirm their relationship Then the system pops up, stating that finally, he has established his own faction. Now think of a name to register it, guys. Our protagonist is left thinking, because Hayes still short of 4 people. To complete the mission, to increase the tribe to 50 people, you know? But first of all, he has to think of a name. To register his territory, he decided to name it the Novice Tribe. Damn, man, wasn't there a better name, guys? Now that he managed to ally with the Elf Tribe, he needs to find a way to ally with the tribe of the Fishmen. Over there, right? And since Hayes already feeling better, for a while now, our protagonist has been thinking about going alone. To capture some of those fishmen over there, you know? But guys, the system won't count. Those 4 fishmen is part of the population, right? Because he needs to ally with their people. For them to count toward the population. Right. So what is our protagonist going to do, guys? While he was thinking about what he would do regarding the tribe of the Fishmen, over there he heard some background chatter about him being brave to marry the queen. After all, this man must be just like those men who become a couple only to go to a ceremony where they are cooked to satisfy the queen. Ah, so that means Hayes screwed, man. This catches our protagonist completely off guard. Right, guys? I mean, come on, this woman devours everyone, man. I mean, pause. So that's why. There are no men in her tribe, right, guys? Wait, but didn't I see a man there? Man, or am I going crazy, my lord? Ah, don't eat me. I don't understand you, man. She arrives looking all sad, asking if Hayes really going to marry another woman? Poor thing, man. He says yes, since it's the best choice for them at the moment, but she mentions that they are even going to hold a ceremony. Oh boy, when she talks about it, in his mind, he thinks she is going to eat him. She will, but in a different way. Right, guys? She starts saying a bunch of things, here and there, but he asks what she is doing there, since she said she preferred to stay hidden. You know, she says she's the one who should stay by her lord's side and not just watch from afar while Hayes trying to rest. Man. But he takes Sokka to another place and says he needs to talk to our hot elf queen about potentially breaking off. The ceremony the next day, our protagonist was waking up and sees that they are all getting along very well. He was posing there, but he remembers that he has to talk to our hot elf queen. He goes, but Hayes completely terrified too. Right, Sister Nea? She said that she's waiting for him at the river. She asks if he has anything important to say. We're finally going to find out her name, right, guys? Did she say it? I didn't see. She said that he can call her Xiao Huan. I liked the name, guys. But I'll let you guys choose a name for her, so leave your name suggestions down in the comments, guys. She says that this is the name her former king gave her before being exiled. It's been a while since anyone called me that. She says, our protagonist was thinking that she ate the former king, you know? He asks, have you had other kings besides the one mentioned? How is he doing right now? By any chance? Were they devoured? It's a tradition in our tribe, especially for the queen, to eat her own king, and when they do, this they say they gain extraordinary strength. She says, and our protagonist is scared out of his mind, you know? But she says that this tradition belonged to the former queens, because she has no intention of continuing with this tradition. After all, it's a pretty bizarre thing, right, guys? Good thing she's not a cannibal, right, guys? She says that she just became queen, so she hasn't had any life partner yet, so obviously she doesn't think about eating her future husband, at least not in that way, right, guys? So he leaves looking all happy, saying Hayes going to prepare the wedding ceremony then. He says there's no need to worry about being eaten. Pause on that. And the tough part is that he still needs to talk to Naya about this marriage. Right, guys? But before he leaves, she says that even though she's not a cannibal, she might change her mind and become one if she ends up regretting marrying her husband. That's enough to make anyone shake in their boots, man. A while later, he was taking a look at the system wondering if he should capture some fishmen to finish that mission about expanding the tribe, you know. While he was thinking, Shingu walks by. He says he has something to ask him. Our protagonist says that he will go out for a while, and during this period, Shingu will be responsible for making everyone work. And if I take too long, you can send some reinforcements to the beach to look for me a while later at the beach, where the fishmen are found. As soon as our protagonist arrives, there, most of the fishmen had bitten the dust, guys. Our protagonist thinks they fought among themselves, since that's a normal thing for them, you know, so he decided to take a look a bit closer, right, guys? He says the bodies of the fishmen are still fresh, which means they fought recently, guys. And their fingers have claws, so probably these wounds on their backs were caused by their own clan, he says. As he walked along the beach to see if he could find any survivors, he finds one of them fallen near the water, and its limbs are tied up with a lot of seaweed. From the intense struggle, and of course after seeing this, hey, sure, it's a scene of drowning, right, guys? But this leaves our protagonist a bit curious, because the Fishman clan is good at swimming, man, so why? Does it look like this guy bit the dust from drowning? Man, we still don't know. But while our protagonist was thinking about how all this happened, a beast arrives there saying that the Fishman clan is attacking his clan, and of course, after hearing this, our protagonist uses his rapid movement skill to get there faster. Back at our protagonist's tribe, Shingu was giving orders for them not to separate. Let's face them in hand-to-hand combat. And wow, guys, these creatures are tough. Okay, they keep advancing, even with the spears thrust at them, you know. So they charge at Shingu and the others with everything they've got. However, our elves arrive to help. Our queen asks, are they from the Raiwa clan? But shouldn't they be living on the southern beach? What are they doing here all of a sudden, man? Furthermore, their physical condition of this creature is completely strange, you know? Meanwhile, Shingu said he doesn't know why they came all the way here to attack his tribe. So they prepare themselves and charge forward again. Finally, the battle begins anew. Let's go, guys. They charged forward with everything they had. But our protagonist's tribe is strong. So for now, they are winning. But something is wrong, right, guys? Especially since they can't say a single word. And besides, right now, they literally look like monsters, you know? But while our gorgeous elf Naya was distracted, fighting one of the fishmen, they try to attack her from behind, however. Our protagonist arrives just in time and defends her. And of course, this makes our protagonist angry. Right, guys? Nobody touches our gorgeous girl, damn it, so he tells her to get out of there. Then, he pushes the monster back. This guy's really strong, right, guys? Because even though our protagonist only has 3 points of strength, he manages to tank it smoothly, man, however. While he was thinking about that, 2 more monsters attacked him from behind, but he has warriors he can trust, right, guys? I'll leave it to you guys to take care of these savages. He asks Shingu to help them, because now he's going to face the leader of the fishmen. But in reality, he just needs to move away from her. To focus on this savage, since he doesn't want his people to get hurt, I don't want anyone interfering with our battle. This is an order for everyone. Thus, it charges straight at the protagonist with full force, but he dodges icily, however. These monsters are strong and fast, guys, so it turns around with everything and bites our protagonist's arm. And of course, our protagonist tries to strike it, but it backs away, and guys, our protagonist got lucky, because if it weren't for the cloak made from the king of the cows, he would have lost his arm, man. This makes the monster furious, son. So, it charges at our protagonist again, but this time, much stronger, guys. However, our protagonist ducks just in time, son. This leaves him even more curious. Right, because the monster's strength and speed increased. Like crazy, man. If it weren't for our protagonist's reflexes, he would have been finished, guys. Yeah, but why did it stop attacking, man? This is a bit strange, because they only targeted the bloodstained part of our protagonist's cloak, man. And why are they only circling around the bald-headed guy, man? That's when our protagonist realized, guys, that perhaps they are being attracted by the scent of blood, and the people of the Rehwa clan use the smell of blood to track their targets. So, that's why this scent makes these monsters more bloodthirsty and violent. But judging by its current state, they are really just acting on pure animal instinct, you know? And to see if this theory was actually true, he asks Shun Lizzie to bring some small pigs to the front lines. Then Mowgli throws a spear at them so they can catch the scent of the blood. Right, and guys, our protagonist's theory is correct because they started charging in the direction of the little pigs, man, so he asks them to put a little bit of poison on the tips of the spears, but it wasn't even necessary, guys, because out of nowhere they started foaming at the mouth. Oh ho. Wait, man, and out of nowhere they were totally finished. Guys, wait, that's a lie, man. They actually just passed out, our queen asks. If they had put the paralyzing poison on the tips of the spears, but Shun Lizzie says no. So our protagonist tells all of them to get back. But wait, guys. Why on earth did they just collapse out of nowhere, man? That's what we are going to find out now, son. After they passed out, our protagonist tied them up, and after a while, they began to wake up. Then the elf girl calls for our protagonist. He asks if that fishman he was fighting woke up. She says yes, so our protagonist gives him a little bit of water and asks if he understands him, our protagonist. And asks if he understands him, our protagonist. He asks Sokka to give him more water. The monster asks our protagonist to give some water to his people, since they are also thirsty. So, he says he will give them water, but first, he needs to answer some questions. He says, "You drove us out of our territory and poisoned some of my warriors. And you still want to ask questions, you guys?" He thinks our protagonist is from the Zushi clan, That means you were attacked by the Zushi clan. Our protagonist says, and really, he mistook our protagonist's tribe for the Zushi clan. You guys, the fishman asks if they aren't from the Zushi clan, but Sokka says no. They are from the Novice tribe, which is led by this man. Behind me, Novice tribe. I've never heard of it, he says, the monster says. That the Zushi clan took their territory from them? Our protagonist says that they attacked his territory and were captured by his warriors. We have nothing to do with the Zushi clan. He says, furthermore, they completely lost the ability to communicate. You guys, they were acting like total animals, man. But he says that's impossible, because they don't remember any of that. So since that's the case, Sokka asks him to tell everything he remembers. This guy they are talking to is the leader of the Fishman tribe. He says that they usually live near a stretch of the beach. Everyone already knows that, pal. On a normal day, they were living peacefully. As always, even playing around here, man. Look, until out of nowhere, the Zushi clan invaded their territory and attacked them. And right after that, they were captured by our protagonist and the others. He really doesn't remember invading their territory. He doesn't even know if his people who stayed on the beach are alive or not, man. And of course, our protagonist got curious, right, you guys? He said, "Hey, sorry," because he went to his territory, and there was no one alive. The Fishman leader says that in his defense, he couldn't arrive in time to save them. It seems the Zushi clan wants to wipe our protagonist off the map, he says. And of course, Hei's angry, right, you guys? Because he was supposed to protect his people. But while he was moving, some thing fell from his body there. Sokka says she hadn't seen this plant before, so our protagonist uses the system to see what it is, right? It's a plant called hemp. Hemp, I don't know. It's a herb that has an analgesic effect. If someone inhales its smoke, it can cause hallucinations. You're thinking that plant is something else, huh? Now it's explained. Why they acted like animals, right, you guys? They ask if everyone from the Fishman tribe was intoxicated by these herbs, and you guys. Shun Lizzie once said that the leader of the Zushi clan had acquired a kind of divine power. But that isn't so divine. After all, right, man, it's more like an evil power, you know? And that's probably why they were like that back on the beach, right, you guys? And some smart ones from the Fishman clan thought that by going deep into the sea, they would avoid the poisonous powder. But in the end, they bit the dust anyway, right, you guys? Damn, man. This guy from the Zushi clan is pure evil, right, you guys? They went to attack our protagonist's clan. By coincidence, you know? The Zushi clan planned for the Fishmen to fight against our protagonist's clan, to try to get rid of them in the forest. So that means they don't know about the existence of our protagonist's clan, you guys. For them to be able to control the Fishman leader, who was strong as hell, man. Our protagonist needs to stay sharp. Right, you guys? So he opens the system window and says that with 3 strength points. He thought he was already strong. But now, he realized he needs to get stronger, right, man? Because if the Zushi clan attacks them out of nowhere, our protagonist won't have enough strength to defeat them, guys. Because if the Zushi clan attacks them out of nowhere, our MC won't have enough strength to defeat them, you know? And not just him, our MC's entire tribe is still too weak to fight against them. Sokka said that he was almost having a fit of eras. Let's wait a bit longer and ask more questions, she says, but our MC says they don't have time to wait for things to calm down because a true disaster could strike. At any moment, Sokka asks, how do they plan to attack? He says it's hard to explain, but it's probably because of the hallucinogenic herbs. Because of those herbs, the Fishman clan was controlled. And the worst part is they don't know what might happen in their next attack, right, everyone? Because they probably want to face our MCS clan in hand-to-hand combat due to those herbs. Our MC tells him that he doesn't need to worry about everything that happened since he inhaled the toxic smoke of the herb. No matter how strong you are, you can't do anything to neutralize it. He says he asks him to take a look. Don't you have any resource related to this herb? He says he remembers its scent. He vaguely smelled it when he was returning to fight the Zushi clan. However, it was mixed with various kinds of strange odors. So because of that, he felt strange and got dizzy. So he had to use another kind of poisonous herb of theirs, right, guys? After our partner discovers the role of this poisonous herb, he decides that it's definitely not a good idea to take the initiative. The leader of the Fishmen says, if you are going to fight those bastards, please let us join you. If I don't get my revenge, I will regret it for the rest of my life. Our protagonist says he also wants revenge, and all of them start shouting to help their lord. Our protagonist almost forgets about the mission to increase the population to 50 people, right, guys? And since only 4 people are missing, this will be perfect. But there's always a catch, right, everyone? The leader of the Fishmen says their sense of smell is very good, so they can help identify and track down those poisonous herbs. But that's exactly why our MC is worried, right, guys? Because they are highly sensitive to the scent of that poisonous herb. If they lose control again over there, the consequences will be devastating. He keeps saying, if only we could control ourselves not to fully inhale the poisonous vapor. But our protagonist doesn't fully know the Zushi clan. How will they know? If they have an even more potent gas? If they have that kind of thing, it will be impossible for them. Our protagonist says he understands his thirst for revenge, but anger or hatred alone won't solve anything. But what if I have a plan, however? I don't know if you'll like it. He says that those who are captured are the only ones left from his clan. So, that means as long as you help us achieve our revenge, we will be with you. This was everything our protagonist wanted, right, guys? Happy for the leader of the fishmen who accepts. As long as you are willing to give your lives, follow my orders, to complete different tasks separately, I promise you will succeed in getting revenge with your own hands. But I need your people to agree to all of this. But all of them said they are willing to accept everything. And since they accepted everything, they are now part of our protagonist's tribe. Man and guys, I think the mission is already complete. The mission to have 50 people in the tribe. And the reward for completing this mission is 3 attribute points and a treasure chest. And finally, an inheritance stone type thing, which I have absolutely no idea what it is, man. And since he wants to get stronger, right, guys? He immediately puts all 3 attribute points into strength. Wow, guys. Is our boy going to get jacked? Now, man, hello, everyone. How are we doing, damn guys? As you already know, this guy basically reincarnated into a primitive world. And now he has to survive and become stronger so that, in the end, he can lead multiple tribes in the last video. For those who don't remember, right guys? Our protagonist went to the beach to find the fish-headed tribe, right? But for some reason, when our protagonists arrived there, their tribe had already been completely wiped out, man, however. While our protagonist was investigating what had happened to them, Shun Lizzie arrives out of nowhere, saying that the fish-headed tribe has gone completely crazy over there, man, attacking his own tribe, right? And of course, after hearing that, he activates his speed cheat and rushes off to protect his people, son. Meanwhile, at our protagonist's tribe, Shingu and Xiaowan, which is what I'm going to call this gorgeous elf from now on, right, guys? Because in the last video I asked, you two choose a name? For her? Right, but I'm really bad with names. Man, anyway, Shingu and Xiaowan and the others were fighting hand to hand with the fishman's son. But while our gorgeous queen was trading blows with the fishman, right there, one of those bastards tries to attack her from behind. Look, man, what a son of a gun, however. Our protagonist arrives and protects her, right? And just like that, our protagonist throws a punch right into the midst of the fishman. Meanwhile, for some unknown reason, all the fishmen passed out, actually. It wasn't for an unknown reason, right, guys? The real reason this is all happening is because of the Zushi clan, which is the tribe of those bald guys over there, right? They use a plant called hemp. Hemp, I guess. And this plant was the real reason for making the fishmen completely lose their minds, right? I don't know, guys. I'm starting to think that this herb is actually weed. And right after all of that happened, right? Our people learned their lesson. Because what if the fishmen with all that madness were trying to tear everyone apart? Not yet, guys. After a while, the leader of the fishmen wakes up, right? So our protagonist goes to talk to him, right, about everything that happened, right, about him attacking his tribe, this and that, but the leader of the fishmen says that he doesn't remember attacking our protagonist's tribe at all. See, guys, I'm telling you that this herb is something else. Then the fishman asks our protagonist, if you are going to fight against the Zushi clan, let us join you, but our protagonist says he is not sure. Right. What if he loses his mind again and goes around trying to tear everyone apart? No way, guys, however. Our protagonist tells the fishman that he has a plan, but he is not sure if his people will like it, right? But before our protagonist could even finish speaking, everyone from the fishman's tribe agrees to the terms, right? As long as they can wipe out the Zushi clan, they will obey our protagonist's orders, son. So, from now on, the Raiwa clan is part of our protagonist's tribe? Hell yeah, let's go. And after closing the deal with the fishman, our protagonist, whom from now on I will call Shin, thanks to our bro Rumuru, who commented on the community post. And also, I wanted to thank whoever sent that donation to us. Right, thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome, man. Then there's a guy who sent $21 to us to do the continuation of the primitive world. Man, look, my bad for the delay, my brother. Or my sister, right? I don't know. Anyway, here's part 2, my friends. So let's get right into it. And after this fight with the fish heads, our protagonist realized that he is too weak. So he decides to allocate the attribute points that he obtained into strength. And as soon as he puts those points into strength, a tremendous power begins to emanate from our protagonist. And obviously, he felt a terrible pain coming from his body. But in the end, he managed to level up and become stronger, my friends. Let's go. Damn it. Our protagonist ended up looking like Adam, didn't he? Even the crazy guy's hair grew, man. What madness. But that doesn't matter right now, does it, my friends? What matters right now are the items that our protagonists obtain from the system. And since Hei's no fool, right, guys? He immediately opens the large box and the things that came. Inside were a metallic, or called hematite, which honestly I don't know what it is, but our protagonist says it can serve many purposes, like a furnace or a stove from the ancient era. And in the other package, there comes a hemostatic potion, which I think you guys already know what it is, right, guys? Finally, our hidier player is going to see what that stone is over there, which for some reason is called the inheritance stereotype. And according to the system, right there on the interface, it can register a product of a certain civilization, with this being obtained through devout worship. Wait, so Hei's going to have to get the key right? Wait, hell, have to get it right. With this being obtained through a cult? Oh, so. Okay then, and he needs 10 technology points to unlock this stone, and obviously he spends them, right, guys? Our protagonist has plenty of those, man. The guy earns them. Like water, and guys, this is a giant step for the development of civilization, but first, hell need to smash Showan, my friends. Hee boy. And now, leaving that aside for a bit, our main man has to think about how Hei's going to defeat the Baldy's tribe. Over there, however, while he was thinking about that, Sokka calls for him, and obviously, she gets a bit glitched out. Man, out of nowhere. Our protagonist got bigger and stronger than her. Man, the guy turned into a titan already. No doubt about it. You know? Except with hair, man. But she didn't go to him just to say that. She asks our protagonist if he wants her to go to the Baldy's tribe, over there to clear up the misunderstanding. That's what she thought it was. But obviously, it wasn't a misunderstanding, right, guys? What they really want is to conquer all the tribes. And obviously, the Bald clan is going to be the strongest tribe they will face, man, however. Even with them being very strong, our protagonist has faced various wild fish and other tribes as well, which in this case was our gorgeous elf's tribe and the fishheads tribe. And because of that, they can think of various strategies. So Sokka asked, what should we do? Because she is very scared and doesn't know what to do for now. We must build walls and also hunt to accumulate food. We don't need to provoke them until we are ready. And what are we going to do with the 22 people who joined the tribe? Our protagonist tells her to separate them into 3 groups. Right there, 1 group for hunting and gathering food, 1 group to handle constructions, and another group to build traps. And obviously, Sokka gets completely confused because she doesn't know what a trap is, man. So our hidier player explains to her right there that traps are meant to protect their beautiful territory, but our main man doesn't want a repeat of what happened last time. You know, when the fishheads invaded their tribe, if they managed to set up several traps, according to the terrain, they will be able to avoid a lot of problems that are to come. And with that, they might even manage to capture enemies alive, or even wild beasts, right? But he says that he will explain the trap-making method later, because right now, he has an important task. For Sokka, Shen says that with the population increase, there they need to increase their food supply. Right, and that's why our MC is going to teach them how to make that famous jerky. Right, son, and with the amount of meat left over from those hellish cows. Over there, guys, they have more meat than they know what to do with, son. A while after our MC explained to everyone what they had to do, he was quite impressed with the beautiful fish head. Tribe man. Because basically, those crazy guys do everything, man. But while Shen was there observing them, Shingu calls. For our MC? Right, our MC only called Shingu over because he wants to show him the locations, to set up some traps in the mountains, right? And to help Shingu, our MC, selects a few people. They're to teach him how to set up the traps the right way, right? Because if he leaves it to Shingu, he might just fall into his own trap, right? That's exactly what our MC tells Shingu. Right, for him to remember the location of these traps. But that's so annoying, boss. Why? Why do I have to do this? Stop being a blockhead. Hey, letting you remember the location of each trap is a sign of my trust. In you, you idiot. Let me tell you, this must be an absolute secret. Huh, besides you and me, no third person must know. About this, got it, Shen? Only told Shingu that, right, guys? Because if there's a traitor among them, the consequences would be terrible. Am even going to erase this here? So no one sees what we were talking about. Huh. Don't draw it anywhere. Just trust yourself. Although, it's a bit difficult. Right. I will definitely live up to the trust you placed in me. Boss. Wow. Shingu spoke beautifully, right, guys? Anyway, for now, our MC is talking. Since Hei's going to take a good old rest. Right, because at night they are going to start the preparations for these traps. After our MC explained to everyone, and to Shingu, what they had to do, he places that heritage stone near his little house over there right then. He tells Shingu that he is going to rest. Now, right, finally a little time to rest. Our MC is going to be a bit worried. Right, guys? Because he doesn't know how much time he has, and he also has a lot of things to do, right? Looks like I have a lot of work to do. Oh, but what is all this noise? Where am I? Wait, who are you guys? One of the girls there, guys, says that he drank too much and ended up passing out, right, man? Oh, man, I finally returned to my world. Damn. Keep the music playing and keep dancing. For me, and a while later, he grabbed the girl. There, man, pause. You guys will understand why I'm saying pause in just a bit. Man, wake up. You slacker, it's time to work. Work. What woman? But I thought it was really you, but I don't think so. Shingu. What the hell? What's going on, Shingu? Pause 1,000 times. Hi, boss. What's wrong, you told me to look for you today, didn't you? I was going to wake you up, right? But you started grabbing me. I grabbed you. Stop lying. Not only did you grab me, but you started getting frisky with me. Oh, boss, do you like this kind of thing? Bro, are you gay? No, bro, stop it. And there, guys, you. I would already be scared of this Shingu character, man. A while later, Shingu went to show the trap that he made with the others. There too, RMC, right? Shen says that the depth and width are perfect, however. There is one little thing missing. Right, look, you just take the leaves like this and throw them on top. And boom, it's done. Then RMC says that the boy Mowgli, you can help them make another trap. But come on, boss. I don't know how to make traps. Shen asks him if he remembers the logs he used last time for the spear training. So you just replace the log with a net. And there you go, we have a net trap. And after our protagonist checks the traps and teaches everything he had to teach, to them, he leaves everything in Shinga's hands. Once again, and tells him not to forget his other task on the following day. Our protagonist finds things a bit strange because there is absolutely nobody walking around the village, man. So he goes to check right? To see how the girls are doing, in case they are sick. Or something he doesn't know, but then, when he opens the door, they let out a loud scream right there, man. Why are you guys screaming? They are screaming? Right there, guys. Because they didn't have any clothes on, man. I think she was doing something else. Not yet, guys. This leaves our protagonist a bit curious, wondering if this is an effect of that inheritance stone over there, right? Maybe it is. And maybe it isn't, right, guys? But I believe it is. To get that certainty, our protagonist goes over there to take a closer look. Right, however. While our protagonist was investigating there, Shingu arrives, calling for him again. Shingu says that while he was setting up the trap, over there, they found more glowing stones. Then he takes the 2 small stones that were in his hand, right there, and rubs them against each other. And incredibly enough, guys, sparks flew, son. And incredibly enough again, guys, this was an amazing discovery of theirs, son. What they found there, guys, is nothing. Other than niter, to be more exact. Niter or niter, call it. Whatever you want, right, guys? It is the mineral form of potassium, nitrate, and it is used in making dynamite. Anyway, so our protagonist asks Shingu where he found that. Right. Here, boss. But as soon as our protagonist gets there, guys, things aren't exactly what he thought, right? And boss, there's something even stranger here too. The soil is really very easy to dig, and it seems there are some things inside that don't look like stones. Could this be good? Let me taste it. How disgusting. And yes, guys, of course it is. Exactly what you guys are thinking. Man, he ate poop. Man, how disgusting. And according to our protagonist, right, guys? It seems there is a pit of poop down there, man. How disgusting. Or there's also a strong possibility of that place being the old lair of the bald guy over there, right? So, basically, they ate human poop. How disgusting. So Shen tells Shinju to collect all the niter and close his pit up again, right? And also, for him not to forget to set up a few more traps in the surrounding area. And our protagonist tells him to build more towers as well and put someone up there as a lookout. And after all of that, 4 days pass. And in those 4 days, they built several small houses. And from now on, everyone has a small house to live in there, right? Ah, it's the first step to happiness. What do you mean, boss? What do you mean by a step to happiness? It's simple. Securing food, clothing, the foundation of the tribe. With these basic things becoming solidified. Right, my king. Oh, what a mess, man. I need to get out of here quickly. Let me go. And that one is dead, boss? Are you okay, Shangling? Get off of him? You're going to kill him, you buff-it-up woman? No. My king, you cannot die. You've just finished building these houses. At this rate, she's going to kill him like that, right? So Shen asks her if she really finished the small houses. Already, she says yes, to be more exact. They made 2 rows of small wooden houses. A total of 10 houses, right? And that's great. Right, guys? If they continue at this pace, everyone will be able to move into their small houses. In a few days, my girl can keep going. And in a few days, I'll be back, okay? So that's good. Bye, boss. Are you okay, huh? Because yeah, I'm doing fine. Look at our big protagonist's waist, guys. Look! And after he went around and saw how the construction was going, he went to see how the Fishhead tribe was doing. And it seems they are doing very well, right, guys? And not only that, it seems all the tribes are getting along really well. With each other, with the Fishhead tribe, our big protagonist can increase the food variety. Ever since our big protagonist managed to unite the Yellen clan and the Fishhead tribe, everything has been going very well. The long-haired guy says that all of this is because of our protagonist. Thanks to you, we have food and a prosperous life, thank you very much, my king. And that leaves our little protagonist a bit uneasy, right, guys? Because he used some methods that he didn't want to use to follow his plan, right? But the long-haired guy says there, don't doubt your decisions. Your orders are our will. Besides, I don't see any problem in what we did, my king. In this world, only the strong survive, achieving maximum results. With small stones is actually a kindness on your part, my king. And after those wise words from the long-haired guy there, right, guys? He'll call him Noah, right? Or just long-haired guy. Anyway, right, after seeing how the construction was going there and the food stock, our little protagonist went back to where Xingu and the others were right to see how things were with the traps. Then Shen asked Xingu if he can build the traps. And also the towers over there, right? Xingu says yes, right? But after he placed 6 people to keep watch on the towers over there, he ran out of people there to help him make the traps, right? And that's why our protagonist says that he and the long-haired guy will come help them out tonight, right? Beautiful. But at a critical moment like this, they need to make every second count. Because think with me, guys. If the Zushi clan really lived around there, they know those areas better than our protagonist's tribe, right? And that's exactly what our little protagonist is afraid of, right, guys? Because they are still not ready to fight against the Zushi clan over there, right? But anyway, our big protagonist has no time to keep thinking about that, so they start building the traps. There, but while they are building the traps, there, they hear a scream coming from the south. And when our big protagonist looks, one of the towers, there had smoke coming out of it. And this smoke coming out of the tower is used to signal an attack. And of course, guys, after our protagonist sees that, he tells everyone to get ready and go with him. And having said that, our protagonist uses his speed skill and dashes ahead to see what is happening. But even with our protagonist's skills, his speed skills, it would take him about 5 minutes to reach where the trap was triggered. Right. Meanwhile, on the mountain, where the fire was lit, let's talk about it, right? Our wolf boy was watching where the trap was triggered. And the problem with that, guys, is that the trap was triggered near their village. Bro, so Mowgli starts thinking that the enemy saw the fire he lit and they could attack at any moment. Bro, can you believe that, guys? He dashes down the mountain there, son, to see if the enemies are really attacking him. Right, but what on earth is all this noise? Huh, so it really is an ambush. If you're planning a surprise, attack. Don't make so much noise. And after throwing the spear, our master boy thinks he hit someone, but out of nowhere, someone throws a spear at an incredible speed. Right at him, son, looking like Flash. But our wolf boy is awesome and blocks it, son. But that was the perfect opening for the hidden enemy to attack our boy Mowgli. Is this the end for our boy Mowgli, guys? Of course not. The person who was attacking him stops because that person is none other than our protagonist. Holy shit, Mowgli asks our protagonist what Hei's doing there, but our protagonist says there's no time for that right now, my friends. He asks Mowgli if he knows where the traps that were triggered are located. He says yes, especially since he was the one who lit the torch. I mean, not a torch, a bonfire. So our protagonist tells Mowgli to wait for the others right there while he goes ahead to see what's happening. And as soon as our protagonist gets there, he finds it a bit strange, guys, because he doesn't sense any other presence. And the place is too quiet. It doesn't seem to be a wild beast. Because if it were a wild beast, it would be making a lot of noise. And by the looks of it, there, guys, you can already tell who it is, right? So our protagonist goes to take a look closer, just to be sure of what it is. And guess what, guys? The one who fell into the trap right there was our gorgeous elf. Shahoon, guys, and wow, guys. She is in a position right there. Man, if I show it here, the channel will get banned instantly, man. But anyway, guys, our protagonist finds it a bit strange because she wasn't supposed to be holding back her injuries like that. What is she doing? There, and of course, this makes her furious at our protagonist. Right, man? Because instead of helping her, Hayes just staring at her. Right there, man. But then again, man, who wouldn't be staring, right, guys? So Shawan told our protagonist that if he doesn't get her out of there, she's going to kick his ass, man. Oh, you're going to kick me with those little feet of yours? So our protagonist licks his finger and touches her foot. Wait, what? Okay then. And she let out a... Wait, did she look away? Man, no, lying. It was a... But while our protagonist was playing around with Shawan. Right there, man. The others called out for our protagonist. And that makes our gorgeous elf even more furious with our protagonist, saying that if the others see her like this, she'll eliminate everyone, man. Look how feisty she is. Right, Hihei. Should I save you? No? You idiot. So our protagonist told them not to come any closer so he could let Shuhan down. My bad, I didn't expect you to fall into the trap, Shawan. Says she didn't expect him to know so many strange tricks. But let's be honest, guys. It's her own fault for falling into the trap set by our protagonist, man, because she didn't know the traps were there. But anyway, our protagonist asks Shawan what she was doing out at this time of night. Right, she says. She overheard more talk from the Fishhead tribe about wanting to catch fish and shrimp by the seashore, but the path to the sea that they need to take to get to the beach is blocked by a pack of hyenas. And that was exactly why our gorgeous elf went out at night. Right, guys? To look for a new route for them. And let's be honest, guys, that was a bit dangerous for our gorgeous elf, right, man? Because as I said earlier, guys, the Baldy's tribe knows the area better over there, and because of that, our protagonist's tribe is at a giant disadvantage, my friends, but that's exactly why our protagonist is here, right, guys? Because Hayes thinking about the security flaws they had last time. You know, when the Fishhead tribe invaded their tribe, and because of that, Hayes thinking about setting up several security patrols around their village. But the most important thing right now is for him to manage to clear the path to the beach. But the most important thing now is for him to clear the path to the beach. Right, the fish and the shrimp are really important, but what our protagonist really wants there, right, you guys? Are those birds over there the dodo? Birds because they lay eggs, right? So it's decided. Right, you guys, at dawn, our protagonist was going to wipe out those hyenas once again, bro. But Shawan gets a bit worried. They're right, you guys, because as I said before, if the Zushi clan attacks, they will be at a disadvantage. Right, because our protagonist's camp, the Fishman tribe, you guys, and the Zushi clan on the map form a triangle. As long as they guarantee a smooth exchange of goods and information between the outpost, the beach, and their camp, right? They can support each other. Because them living together in a single place just makes them easy targets. Right, a while later, our protagonist and the others went to hunt hyenas. The Fishman leader asks one of the guys from his tribe there if he really saw the hyenas on that path. There, right? Because Hayes not smelling any blood. But while one of the fishmen was checking out the carcass, there, right? One of the hyenas charges at him with everything, bro. But before anything happens, the fishman leader punches the hyena hard and sends it flying. However, when they looked, they were already surrounded by hyenas, bro. Then the long-haired guy tells our protagonist to be careful, right? Ah, relax, bro. The Fishman tribe is on our side. So the Fishman leader tells our protagonist and the others to take care of the hyenas on the right. While the hyenas on the left, he will take care of all of them, bro. And just like that, he smashes the hyenas all over the place, man. And the remaining hyena goes after our protagonist and the others, right? But our protagonist doesn't need to do anything, right, you guys? Because he has his bodyguards, right? However, While our protagonist was distracted, they're looking at the fight. Of this fishman, right? A spider jumped on him? But let's face it, against our protagonist, that's nothing. Right, you guys? He grabbed the spider's neck right there with just one hand, man. And finally, after a long time, they're right. They massacre all the spiders and reach the beach. Then Shen says that on that cliff, right there near the sea, they are going to set up their outpost, and tells the fishman leader, they're right that after he builds the outpost, he will also need to build a small salt evaporation field close to the outpost. But our protagonist leaves that for later, right? Since he only has 4 days to build the outpost. And after all that, right, you guys? 3 days pass, and in our protagonist's little cabin, he was quite impressed, right, with the item crafting method in the system. But while our protagonist was crafting his items, there, right, Sokka called for him, saying that Shunlizzy returned from his mission, right? So Shen asks Shunlizzy if he found any other tribe right on his trip. Shunlizzy says that he traveled north, spent more than a day there, right? But he didn't find anyone. There, the only thing he found was a snowy mountain and a lake inhabited by a strange creature, but when he went to get closer to see what the creature was, right, it submerged. He says he even thought about advancing towards the snowy mountain, right, but he hesitated and came back. Our protagonist says he did well, but what leaves our protagonist intrigued is that he has more fear of the snowy mountain than of the monster there. Man, go figure, right? Shunlizzy says that snowy mountains are very terrifying. I agree with him. Boss, surely you've heard of it, right? What? What do you mean, heard of what? But before Shunlizzy can speak, there, Sokka throws herself onto our protagonist and says she's scared. Throw yourself on me like that too, just so I can see something. And of course, all this fear from the girls. Here is because of Shunlizzy's words, right, you guys? Leaves our protagonist a bit intrigued, right? So he asks them what they are. So afraid of Sokka says that the terrifying part isn't even the snowy mountains, but rather what hides behind them. Now, the one who got curious was me, right, you guys? What do you think is over there, man? For now, we don't know, but we will find out soon, bro. And after this sudden fear of theirs, they're right, our protagonist received a new mission from the system, Phase 1. I saw a giant with my own eyes. And if our protagonist manages to complete this mission, they're right, he will receive another attribute point. And of course, that leaves our protagonist a bit curious. Right, you guys? An attribute point just to see a giant man? What do you mean? But this could be an important opportunity for our protagonist's tribe too. Right, you guys? Because if the giant also has a civilization, maybe our protagonist can form an alliance with them too, right? But of course, our protagonist needs to be careful, right? If things go wrong, they will destroy our protagonist's tribe, right, bro? After our protagonist heard everything Shingu had to say, there, right, he tells him to rest because the man isn't made of iron, bro. Our protagonist asks Sokka how the preparations are going for the ceremony, right? I don't know if you guys remember, but our protagonist is going to marry our favorite babe. Bro, Sokka says that everything is going well, right? And before Sokka leaves, our protagonist tells her to prepare for bags. They're right, because Hei's thinking about exploring a bit, right? And of course, that leaves Sokka a bit worried, right? But our protagonist reassures her, right, saying that Hei's only going to explore the areas near the Yellen clan. There, right, she asks when he will leave for the exploration, right? And since his wedding ceremony is in 2 days, right, you guys? He will leave after the banquet, right? Our protagonist is no fool, right, you guys? He has to stuff his belly first and then take off. And after all that conversation, 2 days pass. The day arrived for our protagonist to marry Shoan. But while the wedding doesn't start, our protagonist had to test his weapons, right? While our protagonist,
What?
they're looking at his gear, right? Sokka knocked on the door, calling for him. Finally, the time arrived for our protagonist's wedding. To show on, you guys, while Shen walks happily to the altar, he says that in his old life, he was trying hard to be someone. But in this era, he is a tribe with several different races. And today, Hei's not only the king of a tribe, but also a married guy. Woohoo, yay, congratulations, my king. But while some were happily getting married and others celebrating, there was someone. Sat back the rower, muscular woman, right, you guys? Because, as you already know, she wanted to be with our protagonist, right? But poor. Muscular woman, right, you guys? Anyway, right, and after eating a lot at the banquet and celebrating with his people, Sokka says that the queen is waiting for our protagonist. In the palace, right? Tonight's the night. Hell yeah. So Shen goes all happy. Over there, right, you guys? Thinking Hei's going to use his tool? Get it? Right. But as soon as our protagonist gets there, Xiao Wan is pissed off on his throne, bro, and I don't know. For what reason, right? But anyway, women, she tells Shen, that she will give him a chance to tell her. Himself, but tell you what, woman. Then she pulls out a whip right there. Whoa. And the reason she's pissed off at Shen, they're right, you guys, is because Hei's going to leave for that trip. Right? That leaves our protagonist a bit relieved, right, you guys? Because he thought it was something else. Man, something else, right, you guys? So he explains to Shahun his reason for going on the trip, right? He explains what Sokka and Shun Lizzie said, right? About the ice giant. There, then she asks, if she can't, go with him, right? But Shen says no, because one of them has to be there in the tribe, right? Because he is the king, and she is the queen of the tribe, right? It makes no sense for both of them to leave the tribe out of nowhere. It's because she also has things more important to do, right? So our MC shows one of the weapons he made. To her, right, Shen tells her to keep that equipped until he returns, and the next day. Our MC and the others went to explore. Over there, while our MC was walking, you guys, Naya, who is the close companion of our beautiful, gorgeous girl, was making a face at our MC. Man, when he looked, she would pretend nothing happened, man. The one who suggested this group that's there, you guys, was our hot queen. And that's basically why Naya is there, right? But while they were walking there, our poor boy says that there is someone watching them, man, and Hei's not wrong. My girl, that hand, a little bit behind. In watching you there? Oh, well, anyway. The handsome fishhead asks our MC if he knows there's a lake ahead, Shen? Says yes, right, that it was Shun who told him, then fishhead says that maybe he must have seen that monster. Ah, so you mean the lake monster? Fishhead says yes, right, that when he was a child, he saw this monster swallow a whole leopard. Son, and since he was a child, at the time, right, he found it impressive. And if Hei's lucky, he might get to throw hands with the monster. Right, says our fishhead. Quite crazy, right then, Shen starts saying, over there that lake monsters don't really matter to him, right? And not even giants. And after our MC says Hei's not afraid of the giant, Mowgli gets scared shitless, man. Huh? Why are you scared, Mowgli? I just said it casually, so do giants really exist? Shun says that before he met our MC, they were a tribe of 30 people, but on a certain day they encountered a giant. And on that very day, the giant ate half of their tribe. Some even managed to run and escape, but by a hair. They weren't wiped out, and that's basically why our protagonist's tribe is afraid of the giant. Right, guys? But now, leaving the giant's story aside for a bit, Fishhead tells them not to eat that fruit. Over there, right? Because when he was a child, he ate that fruit over there and got completely wrecked. Right? And from how we can analyze that fruit over there, it's obviously a toxic fruit. right? In other words, a poisonous fruit. The guy ate a poisonous fruit and is alive. The madman is a godson. Of course, this leaves our MC highly intrigued. Right, guys? Because that plant over there looks kind of familiar. To him, right? He wonders. If it's another type of plant that he knows. From back then, right? And to be sure, he uses his analysis skill and starts analyzing all the plants around him. And to our protagonist's luck, guys, he found many medicinal plants. The madman found a medicine garden, man. But while he was analyzing each little plant, there, right, he found a somewhat familiar plant. There, and it's exactly what you guys are thinking. Everyone. He found corn, son. And the popcorn is going to flow freely now, son. But while our MC was analyzing the plants, there, right, Mowgli calls out to him and points forward. And since our MC was distracted, right, guys, he didn't even notice the pack of hyenas approaching. Them, they are. Just hyenas. How easy. And since the hyenas followed them all the way here to get revenge. If that's the case, we're not going to let them escape then? The hellish hyenas charge. Right at Fishhead with everything but two. Fishhead. That's nothing, right? He grabs the hyenas by their little necks. There, bam. But it's not just Fishhead who is massacring the hyenas, girl. Naya charges at one of them. There and slashes them, but it's like they say, right, guys? Hyenas never walk alone. As soon as she took one down, there were already two leaping at her, my friends. If the hyenas are fighting in a pack, don't worry, we can fight in a pack too, my friends. So, the fishman smashes the two hyenas that were charging at her. But while they were smashing the hyenas, they try to run away again, however. Our protagonist says that this time, they can't let the hyenas escape again, my friends. Because whether you like it or not, hyenas are hyenas. And when you least expect it, they will ambush you again. So, we were after the hyenas, but while we were pursuing the hyenas, our protagonist felt something a bit strange moving around. And when they least expected it, a carnivorous plant grabs Naya. And she ended up in a position that's a bit, how should I put it, guys? I don't know, man. You guys can see it right there, right? And of course, this leaves our protagonist a bit worried, right, guys? Because he has never seen a plant like this. Walking around, of course not. Plants don't walk. Well, this plant is a crimson flower, which I don't really know what the hell it is. And this plant, guys, it has corrosive liquid right inside its head, which I guess is its mouth. This plant is the type of plant that stays quiet in its corner, just waiting for its prey to get close, in other words. This plant is a carnivorous plant, and if Naya falls inside, it's game over. Or is it then the carnivorous plant prepares to swallow Naya? She even tries to grab her dagger, but her dagger falls. Inside the plant, my friends, oh no, we're in trouble, man. While everyone was distracted, the plant grabs Mowgli and the fishman, and by the looks of it, right guys? The roots of the carnivorous plant seem to paralyze anyone they touch. The plant even tries to grab our protagonist, too. But our protagonist hacks its root with his axe, my friends. And if the fishman and Mowgli can't save Naya, then it's up to our protagonist. My friends, meanwhile, Naya tries to tell our protagonist to leave her there and save the others. But do you guys really think our protagonist would leave her behind, my friends? I doubt it. But while Naya was arguing about whether our protagonist should leave her there or not, the plant lets go of her and she falls right into the plant's mouth, guys. Is this the end of our cute Naya, guys? Of course not. Especially because our protagonist won't leave her there like that, but obviously the plant wasn't going to make it easy. For him, my friends, while our protagonist was trying to reach our cute girl, two hyenas snuck up behind him without him noticing, however. That's exactly why our fishman is there. He manages to hit both hyenas, even while trapped. So he tells our protagonist to get out of there, because all of this was a trap. that the hyena set up, Mowgli says. That if it's our protagonist, he can escape. Because they will try to hold them back as much as they can, but obviously, our protagonist won't. Leave them behind, after all. He is their king. How can a king leave his allies behind? Like that, he can't, right? However, this also leaves our protagonist deep in thought because, as I already said, he is their king, and it was his duty as king to notice if something was wrong or not, however, before taking any rash actions. He had an idea, since it's a plant. It doesn't hurt to try, right? If it were before, he would have had no choice, and he would have run away. But now he has the element of fire. In other words, it's barbecue time. Even if that plant over there is a carnivorous plant, there's no way it can escape from fire. And just like that, our protagonist, with his axe imbued with flames, charges at the carnivorous plant and slash, and this flame-imbued attack was enough to make the plant spit Naya out. And it looks like our girl is doing fine, right, guys? And after saving our elf, he frees the others. He takes the others and runs for his life, especially because he set fire to the forest. Right, son? He isn't going to just stand there like an idiot. But the fire is the least of their problems, because there are still some hyenas left. And before our gorgeous Naya could even notice, one of the hyenas leaps right at her. But, obviously, our young boy Shen is not going to let her get hurt. So basically he pulls her back and switches places with her, right? And obviously, the hyena leaps at him with full force. Of course, this makes Mowgli and the fisherman worried about our protagonist. But there is no time. For that, son, the forest is on fire. If they stay there, they will be finished on the spot. And like a king protecting his people, our protagonist says, "To them go, I will be right behind you." But our elf girl, Naya, didn't come all this way just to be saved. She grabs her bow and arrow, and bam, she scores a direct hit. And here we discover the hidden talent of our elf girl, Naya. She is a natural archer, right, son? And this leaves our protagonist a bit curious, right? When did she learn how to use a bow? She says that she learned it by watching him earlier. Look at that, man. She truly has a talent for this, right? And unfortunately for them, Naya hurt her ankle, and obviously, she starts talking that nonsense about leaving her behind and blah, 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 but there is no time to argue about this, son. So, our boy Shen puts her on his back and lets go, son. But while they were running, right there, Naya says that she planned to use this chance to get rid of our boy Shen, because she knows it was him who planned the attack of the black cows, however. Since our protagonist plays dumb, right, guys? Obviously, he is not going to admit it, right? She says that she already knew he would deny it because on that day, she noticed that some of the black cows were already injured. Furthermore, at that time, your weapons couldn't possibly injure the iron-horned black cows. So there's only one alternative. It was you, wasn't it? And just like that, she puts a knife to our protagonist's neck and threatens him, but he has no time to be arguing about this right now, right, son? Because the fire is almost catching up to them. And so, she says that for now, she will put this aside. But she says that she will be keeping an eye on our protagonist. If he ever betrays the queen, Shawan, she will make sure he gets locked up. And finally, after running a lot through the burning forest, they finally managed to reach the lake. And since Naya and Mowgli got hurt, they will have to give up on trying to find the giants, at least for now, right? Because the plan now is different. Our boy Shen decided to go back to that garden where he found the herbs, because whether they like it or not, sooner or later, they are going to need those herbs. And after almost being finished off by the hyenas, the plant and the fire, they finally have some time to rest, right? Shen tells him and Naya to stay right there resting while he and the fishman gather more of those herbs. However, While they were gathering herbs over there, the fisherman can still smell the hyenas. What is going on? Boy, that's what we are going to find out now. Because while our protagonist was rummaging around, right there he got a bit surprised. Because he found hyena cubs. Look at that, man. And that's when things click, right, guys? Because at that time, the hyenas weren't after them for revenge. We're just protecting their cubs, right? Look at that, man. And after finding the hyenas, our protagonist received a beast-taming mission. And as always, if our protagonist completes this mission, he will receive a small supply chest, which is the usual basic reward, right? And also a hunting weapon. And of course, our protagonist is going to accept the mission, right? Especially since there is no time limit for him. And finally, after gathering the herbs, rest and find the hyenas. They are going to return home, right? But while they were walking peacefully through the forest, they hear a very loud roar coming in their direction. What will it be this time? Boy, could it be another wild beast? No. It's impossible for them to be that unlucky. Right, I think it is, huh? Because this time, a giant bear appeared right in front of them, bro. And according to Mowgli, this bear right here is a man-eating bear. And since Naya and Mowgli are injured, right, I think now, they are totally screwed. Right, but relax, because our protagonist is right there, damn it. And being a leader, as always, right, he tells the three to turn around and leave while he buys some time. There with the bear, but of course, they hesitate to leave our protagonist. They're right, however, there is no time for that, especially because if they stay the way, they are right there, injured, they will only get in his way. He only has one chance, so do as I said. And since the fisherman leader is the only capable one, they're right, our protagonist tells him to get them out of there, then Shen charges right at the giant beast with everything. And just like that, our protagonist created the opening for them to escape. Now, it's just our protagonist and the giant beast. And so, our protagonist charges at the giant beast with everything. Again, but obviously the giant beast isn't going to lose that easily, right? So, it defends itself by throwing our protagonist back. And of course, the fishman leader, after seeing this scene, intends to go back, right? However, Mowgli tells him not to be reckless, because he has already witnessed our protagonist's strength, a beast. Like that is nothing compared to the leader of the iron-horned black cows. Really, right? And besides, if they stay there, they will only get in the way of our protagonist's fight, right? So just follow our leader's orders. And after hearing those words from Mowgli, he turns around and leaves. And since Shen is no fool, right, you guys? Now that the others are gone, he just needs to lose the bear and take off, right? And of course, for that, he needs to provoke the bear, doesn't he? Like, come on, come on. Come here. Come right here too. Get it, you loser. And obviously the bear gets furious at our protagonist and charges at him with everything, bro. And it seems that our protagonist's plan worked right, damn now. The bear is following him, which is good right now. The others can return safely, however. That's not the problem right now, right, bro? They return safely. But the one who needs to stay safe now is our protagonist, because the bear is furious at our protagonist, coming at him and destroying everything, however. If that was exactly our protagonist's plan, since the others are far away, now he can take off too, right, bro? However, today is not our protagonist's lucky day, right, you guys? Because while he was trying to distance himself from the bear, there was another predator watching him, and obviously this beast isn't there just to watch our protagonist. It charges at him with everything, however. By a hair, our protagonist managed to dodge, and now, you guys, what is our protagonist going to do, man? Because from now on, it's not just the giant bear for him to worry about. Because from now on, there is also the saber-toothed tiger hunting the little guy too, right? But anyway, right? What does our protagonist do now, you guys? Because while he was watching the saber-toothed tiger, there, right, the giant bear was already charging at him. with everything. Now everything has truly gone to hell. Right, because there's a saber-toothed tiger on one side and the giant bear on the other. I think that now our protagonist is in deep trouble, right, you guys? Because there's no way he can match their speed and strength. He even thought about using the same attack he used to defeat the leader of those hellish cows there, right, you guys? But as you already know, he faints. After using that skill, he can't use the skill, and he can't beat them in speed, and forced by it. What does he do then, boy? For now, we don't know, but we just have to think of something fast, because both of them are charging at him with full force. Shit, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do, however? When our protagonist was almost crying out of fear because of the two beasts, the system activated the emergency escape system. Since he is under extreme danger, and since the system was activated, his accumulated agility is converted into physical strength for 60 seconds, and when this state ends, 33 of his attributes will be permanently removed. And just as the saber-toothed tiger and the giant bear were about to catch him, he felt a tremendous force course through his body, and just like that, he leaps up just in time, and the two crashed right into each other. But it didn't end there, because instead of fighting each other, they turn toward our protagonist and run after him again. Why are you guys chasing me? Why don't you fight each other? And finally, after running a lot, our protagonist finally managed to lose them, and he ran so far without any destination, with no direction, that he reached the snowy mountains without realizing it, and since he has nothing else to do, he is going to look for the ice giant. And after searching for a while, he finally reached the top of the mountain. So, an ice giant. And as soon as he found the giant here, he completed the mission, and not only that, he also triggered a follow-up mission. And the goal of the mission is very simple. He will have to launch an attack at the giant. In other words, Hayes basically picking a fight. However, the reward is pretty hefty. If he manages to complete it, he will gain 10 attribute points, my friends. But here's the thing. How is he going to do? This man, and he also has a small problem, right guys? He cannot decline this mission, my friends, however. Even if the reward were just 1 attribute point. Our protagonist can't do anything about it, right? He has to try. He picks up a small rock, and wham. He throws it at the giant, my friends. And clearly, the giant's companion creature became fully alert. But since our protagonist is no fool, he hid, right? And just with that, he completed the mission. What the heck is this, man? What a letdown. Here I was, thinking he was going to slam his axe into the giant man. However, it didn't end there, my friends. There is still part 3 of the mission. However, this third follow-up mission is going to be impossible for our protagonist, my friends. He will have to kill an adult giant. Impossible, at least for now. And the rewards are 100 attribute points. Really, 100 attribute points are very tempting. He says this until he sees the giant slap a beast and squash it into the ground, my friends. No, I think it's better to leave it for another day. Even if it were 10,000 points, he wouldn't risk his life for it, especially because there are more important things that he needs to protect right now. And sometime later, back at our protagonist's tribe, the patrol elves were telling Shawan that they were very sorry because they didn't find anything, however. Shahun tells them to expand the patrols and keep searching. They are probably looking for our protagonist, right? But as soon as our gorgeous elf says that, Naya says that they should prepare for the worst, just in case, but our gorgeous elf told her to be quiet. He stayed behind to save your lives. I don't want to hear that kind of talk from you, however. While our gorgeous elf was lecturing Naya, someone arrived shouting over there saying that the king is back, and obviously, since everyone was worried, they all go running toward him. However, Shawan tells them to give our king some space to rest, especially because right now, she is the one who will take care of him. Look at that. Our gorgeous elf is on the offensive today, my friends. And sometime later, inside our protagonist's small hut, he was lying on the bed there, just chilling out. Right, but he gets up again because he remembered that he has to deliver the cubs to Shun. To raise, however, Xiaowan puts her foot on his shoulder there and tells him to worry about himself. No matter how capable you are, take it easy, says our Xiaowan, but our protagonist retorts to her, saying that he must take care of the affairs of the tribe first. Man, don't do that, you're asking? To kick the bucket? Man, you're going to die then, Xiaowan says that it's fine, that she will inform Shun Man. She is not very calm at all. She keeps saying that he is the king of the tribe, that he doesn't need to do everything, and also, I don't want to lose my man. Oh, okay. Holy cow, man. But anyway, as soon as Xiaowan leaves, the girl there asks if our MC is okay, right? She says, yes, and that no one should be allowed to enter. There to disturb our MC, returning to Shen. He was quite thoughtful because he realized when dealing with that illusion and the saber-toothed tiger, that strength is important. But at certain crucial moments, he also needs to have agility. And since he got 10 attribute points, by throwing a pebble at the giant over there, obviously, since he is in need of agility, he puts 5 points into agility. And now agility is at the maximum level. He can't level it up anymore because it reached its limit. If he wants to improve his agility, again, it will cost double the attribute points. This leaves Shen a bit confused, because if he spends double the attribute points to increase agility up to level 10, another limit will probably appear. Right? Yeah, it seems that getting 22 points of agility won't be that easy, but now, leaving this agility part aside, he has to think about which one he will level up. Now, because basically, there are still 5 attribute points left. And since he leveled up agility now, and last time, he leveled up strength to level 6. If he levels up strength, again will it hit a limit? To find that out, he has to test it, right? And that's exactly what he does. And now, with his strength, at level 10, a tremendous strength begins to emanate from our MC's body again. And as always, his body expanded. He even lost his sandals. Look here. Pretty soon, Shen is going to become a giant because every time the guy buffs his strength, he gets bigger. And it was exactly as he thought, because as soon as he brought his strength to the maximum level and his body changed shape again, the skill reached its limit. But that was to be expected too, anyway. Now that he boosted agility and strength and became even more of a bodybuilder, it's time to rest because the man isn't made of steel, and the next day, in our MC's tribe, it looks like everyone is getting along, right? Some working, others eating, and some even pushing themselves. Training. That's it. If the tribe is doing well, that's what matters. But while Xiaowan was training her subordinates, there Shen arrives, saying that they are doing very well. And of course, Xiaowan gets pissed off at our MC, right, son? Because she told him to rest. So what is he doing? Standing up over there, man, but our MC says that he has already rested and that he wants to see how the tribe is doing, and Xiaowan gets a bit curious as to why Hei's wearing new clothes, so she grabs his clothes, man. And she is just furious with Shen. Right, guys? Because she thinks it was you? Man, look. And so he wouldn't lose his manhood, guys. He says it's because his strength increased. So his clothes tore. In other words, man, he had no choice but to change. Anyway, guys, she believed his words. And according to our hot elf, the shooter team is formed, however, it's going to take some time until they are completely ready for combat, right? And as for the patrols and sentinels, our gorgeous elf left someone named Wind. Wind? I don't know, man. I'll just call her Wind, that's it. And our gorgeous queen entrusted this to her because she is a specialist at it, right? From the looks of it, everything is going well. And after finding out about all of this, our next question is, how are Naya and our boy Mowgli doing? Shawan says that Mowgli won't just sit idly by, because after everything that happened in the last battle, he doesn't want to be a burden anymore. So, this morning he went to guard the outpost. As usual, right? And check out his pose, guys. I bet you guys can't do that, man, since our wolf boy will be staying at the outpost for a while. Shahun asks Sokka, who is the fair-skinned one, whom I call Sugar, right? To take food to our wolf boy, right? So there's no need for me to worry about that. And Naya is over there training with her bow and arrow, right? To blow off some steam. She is angry because our gorgeous queen scolded her earlier, right? So in this part, Sokka tells Shawan that Naya really cares deeply about her, and that's why she tries to endure everything silently, without our gorgeous queen noticing. So because of that, you have to treat her better from now on, says our protagonist. And after Shen finds out how the tribe is doing and everything, about the training, he is going back to rest, right? Because a few days from now, he will set off to explore once again. And after all of these events, for days pass, and Shen used those for days to build a few things. Right, he made a stone piece with numbers on it, man. And the reason for that is simple, right? He is going to teach simple addition and subtraction to his people. And after doing this, our protagonist completes a hidden mission from the system, thereby gaining 20 technology points. This brings him to a total of 100 technology points. And since he reached 100 technology points, he unlocked a new tab in the system. Technology Shop unlocked. And obviously our protagonist gets curious, right? What is this? And I think you guys can already guess what it is, right guys? Basically, he can exchange his technology points, which he earns, like water at this point, damn it, for various useful tools. Damn, seriously? Why didn't you tell me this before? And there are several things there that will be useful to him now and in the future as well, right? And not only that, right there is a mysterious weapon. Over there, will he buy that weapon, guys? I don't. No, right, because we are only going to find out in the next video, son. And if you out there are watching and don't want to miss part 3 and the remake that'll make of part 1, smash that like button and check the link in the description. That's it. Guys, we are in this together, and until the next adventure,